Gamers, how are we doing today? Sorry for selling out. You know, I gotta get that money. Dollar bill, y'all. Here comes the money. Gotta switch here first. I didn't set up the game yet. It really does not like me closing the game. Like, going out of the game focus. Do game capture. Always first, omnipotent. Do this. Bada bing, bada boom. Capture specific window. Row escape. Gonna be blank for the moment. So that that's properly scaled. Let me hop in here. Bada bing, bada boom. That's a perfect. Let's continue. So I went through and got to the place that I was at before. On PC. So I'm doing it on PC now. Okay, but does it cohere though? Does it cohere though? Alright, let's get out of here. Alright, let's go. You think it does today? I think so too. You found it. The way out. How's the game audio? Is it too loud, too quiet? Oh, I can actually appreciate the voices. I was rushing through it before.
What's he up to?
I was just putting one of those plates in there. It ought to keep the door from locking again.
Hey, what's up, Polish cow? How's it going?
Yeah, we can come back here anytime we want, right?
Why would you want to come back here?
I might like to play a little piano.
I love the fact that he has Percy's voice actor. That's so cool. How are we doing, Sasa? How's everyone doing today? DZ, Ian, Lan.
Come on, let's get moving. We aren't out of this yet.
Well then. Can't say I could ever imagine.
I'm doing well. I'm doing well today.
He couldn't use the piano in there anyway. The keyboard's a mess. But why would he want to leave the door unlocked then? I have no clue.
Hey, wait for me. Whoa.
Well, I asked everyone. Kel, sorry. Are there any lurkers in chat? How are the lurkers doing today?
Why is this thing?
Figures.
Are those elevators over there?
No way to know if they're working or not from here.
Hey, what's up, Brendan? It's been so long.
Oh, there's a door just to the left of this grate. Sounds like it's locked.
Percy. Sounds like it's locked.
They're blocked by the grate, though.
But this here seems accessible. So we can open it?
Nah, I think it's locked too. Look.
You're feeling optimistic about the current event that shall not be named as well? Let's go. I'm hopeful too. I'm hopeful it'll work out all right, and we'll at least get someone slightly better, like marginally.
What's this mark? The female symbol.
The female symbol?
Ah, the Venus symbol, I imagine. Do you recall the similar symbols near the large central stairway? They reference many of the solar bodies. Oh, that's right. The sun,
Saturn,
and Earth. So
I'm
as
your
you can
Venus.
see, that one is likely. Not the woman symbol, but a Venus symbol. So I assume.
I'm gonna have to know some like planet stuff to get through this.
Hold on. Where's 7? Ah, there he is. Down that hallway. This way, Snake. Follow me.
Junpei sounds so normal.
I wonder if this door will...
How about that? It opens.
So I have a feature, I do have a plugin enabled on my OBS that should create captions if people want them. I don't know if it's automatic or not, but I think you should have always been able to turn them on. Whether it's any good or not, I mean, that's for, you know, that's the question. I'd say they're not usually all that great.
Oh, wow. Is this some kind of casino?
Is this some kind of casino?
Looks like one.
Junpei's so normal.
Well, this is troubling. It seems we are once again locked in.
Even if
Binge.
that door was open, it's not like we had anywhere to go that way.
So we must find another exit then.
They're pretty good? Okay. Snake?
All right, guys, let's split up and search this room. Come on, no dawdling. Let's go. Quickly now.
In such a rush, 7. It's suspicious. Jim face is so normal, so true captions. I like how in the PC version like shows you the map to start off with, so you see the kind of like what the area is supposed to look like. It's starting to get complicated. This feels like an escape room that we did in real life. Well, will you look at that? Someone left a bottle of booze here. Don't mind if I do. Oh, that hits the spot. Feels like my throat's burning. Damn, he really drank it. We don't even know how long it's been there. I mean, I'm trying to adjust my voices to be what the actual voices are. Hey, Junpei, I just found this on the shelf. Playing card? I kind of imagine we're starting to watch ReZero again. And one of the voice actors in the very beginning is Endeavor's voice actor in the English dub, and so I'm thinking of 7 as Endeavor in my head right now. Let's get a card, a playing card. Okay, lots of playing cards. You just finished the first season. Let's go. I'm excited to catch up. Okay, more playing cards. I forgot how good it was. Wow, this place is like super amazing. Hey, what's up, Losty? How's it going? What's this place for? Probably for playing Baccarat, but I don't know how to say that. Baccarat. It looks a little off, though. Yeah, look at the middle of the table. There's something mounted on it, see?
Ah, Baccarat. You ever played Junpei?
No, never.
All right, then. How about I explain the rules to you a bit? See,
Let's go
Baccarat is
gambling.
kind of an unusual game. You've got the banker and the
Baccarat.
player. The whole point is that you guess which one's going to win. And whether
Okay.
the banker or the player wins, it all depends on their hands. The way each hand works is
Okay.
different from other games too. See, you take the number from the ones place after you add up the value of all your cards. Whoever
Okay.
gets the number closest to 9 wins. If your number is smaller than your opponent's, you lose. And that's it. That's the explanation. Got it? Well, actually,
Simple
there's
enough.
a lot more to it. Strategy, details, that sort of stuff. But what I just told you sums up the
What about
core.
Mahjong? Where does Mahjong fit in there? Baffo?
The single digit of the sum of all the cards you have. The strongest hand is a 9, and the weakest hand is a 0. You just ignore
Okay.
it in the 10 spot. Do you get it?
What if you have? Can you get to 100 potentially?
Yeah, well, maybe half of it.
A Star Trek reference?
I had a
Okay, I haven't
chance
watched
of
Star
winning the
Trek.
game if I played now.
However, we have no way of knowing if the puzzle in the Baccarat table makes use of those rules, and if it does, in what manner.
This is the Nonari game.
Then I guess we try everything.
Oh no, I'm sorry, Losty. I can see the playing card behind the thick glass case. It's the 8 of spades. Okay. So I guess that's supposed to be with the dealer? Hey, 7, are we really supposed to play Baccarat? It's a Baccarat table. What the hell else would we do? Stop worrying about it. It's real simple. What's the opponent's hand? Well, there's an 8 in that glass case. Alright then that's your opponent's number. If that's the case, what 3 cards do we need to get that number? 3 cards? There are a couple of indentations with white lines around them, right? Those mean we gotta put down 3 cards. So, place 3 cards here and defeat the opponent's 8. That's what I've gotta do, I guess. Yeah, I think so. Something tells me those aren't the only rules. Alright, let's give it a shot. Before I start, I better make sure I've got the rules straight. There are 3 empty indentations. I just gotta pick a card and play it. I figure if I put them in the right spots, something ought to happen. Alright, let's give this a try. The 3, I need to get above an 8, so that would be, what is that? So 7, 5, that would give me 12, plus 4 wouldn't be enough. I think I'm missing a card. What if we kissed on the Baccarat table? I'd be upset. There are 4 chairs surrounding the square table. Check out that stained glass. How beautiful. What? Huh? Stained glass is colored pieces of glass pieced together in a frame. As I've said many times before, I need only touch it to know. I can at least discern the basic structure. It says 1 on the plate. The drawer that used to pick up money. It's locked tight. I can't get it open. There's a keyhole, and it's a coin slot, not a keyhole, my bad. Looks well maintained and properly still works. Be upset because I'd kill you? I had it right before what happened? My pronunciation of Baccarat? Baccarat? What the? It says 9. Yeah, it looks like that cover's hiding something. This is the cover, then maybe it opens up. Probably does. Here's the card slot. Looks like we need to put a playing card in there. Alright, let's give it a shot. Bacco Rat. I'm assuming I have to get this to equal 9. So what would ace count as? 1 or 13? Either way, I wouldn't have all I need. Well, that would give me... It counts as 1? Okay. Doesn't ace count as 13 in some games where it can either be one or the other? Like where ace beats a king? Which is 1 and 11. Okay. Man, I don't play cards. Okay, that's a 1. So it needs to be a singular card, so it have to be an 8. 1 and 11. Okay. So it would seem. I am shocked and appalled that guessing at random has not yielded better results. Yeah. Damn it! This isn't exactly working out the way I expected. It's locked, isn't it? Is there a keyhole? If there is, I can't find it. Well, there must be some way to unlock it. Let's look around a little more, shall we? All the face cards are worth 10. Interesting. The only experience that I really have playing cards is playing the card games in the Super Mario 64 game. In the DS version with like Luigi's Casino. I really didn't play anything. I really haven't played anything else. There's a whole lot of glasses on the shelf. It doesn't look like there's anything else back there though. Mario teaches gambling. Yahoo! There's a weird looking thing floating in there. Uh-huh. Wait, when those 2 lights turned on, I heard something from the bottom of the fireplace. What was that? I heard something down there. Didn't think I'd find a card here. Okay, there's 6. Coin bag. Let's go gambling. Oops. Oops. Well, this seems to be a slot machine. There is a slot for coins on the upper left side of the face. Perhaps we should put the coins we have recently acquired in there. Alright, let's put in a coin from the bag in here. They didn't teach me gambling? Or didn't teach me numbers? Yeah, embarrassing. Mario says 90% of gamblers stop right before they strike it rich, so you should never stop a gambling. Oh, so to answer your question, Losty, I'm doing really well. What happened? I heard an odd noise. Well, to be honest, I don't know. I pressed some of the buttons and smacked the machine once or twice, but nothing happened. Oh, looks like the coin got stuck. Oh dear. What if I put another one in? The coins are stuck. Don't think this machine's gonna work anymore. Yeah, I mean, my legitimate copy on the DS was giving me some issues, so... Alright, let's drop this coin in the coin slot. Come on, you little bastards, I only need one of you. Oh, spin. There's no way that I actually have to get a jackpot on this thing, right? Wait, there was a specific order on the wall. It was that. There we go. What were the DS issues? It just didn't play as well on my legitimate DS console. My real DS console. This has voice acting as well, which is a little bit nice. It's just easier to play on the PC than it is to play on my legitimate DS console. 777. Yes, 777. And I think I hear something unlocking in there. Impressive, Junpei. It would appear to be unlocked now. There is something akin to a drawer in the bottom part of this machine, yes? It is a pickup drawer for dividend. Probably the lock for the drawer got unlocked. Please open it if you would. Nice. What is it? Is there something in there? Yeah, a playing card. And this? A key with the Venus symbol on it. Excellent, Junpei. Now we will be able to open the gate. And then we just need to figure out how to get out of this room. Correct. Come on, Junpei, hurry up. And he's off. There was a playing card and a Venus key. Better put the key in my pocket for later. As for the card... Nice. More of that stupid wizard game? Which one? Wizard 101? It's the coin slot. Do I have any more coins or did I use them all? Yeah, I used them all. A Mario RPG long stream? The original RPG? If so, I already played it. Or do you mean the new one coming out? Because I do want to play that on stream. Oh, it's a Pajama Bee. What's up? How are you doing? Okay, let's see. Secret Agent, Wizard Boy, and the International Crime Syndicate. Oh, of course. Yeah. I know it. Don't know it. How do I possibly... I don't know if I can create 9 with any of these numbers. This is either be 1 or 11. Either way, I need to add 8 to it to get 9. Which I can't do with a singular card. What happens if I just put 1 card in there? Lock. Yeah, that didn't do anything. I don't get it. You're just gonna waste your time if you don't sit down and try to think it out, Junpei. Let's try and sort this out, alright? There's the ace of spades on the left side of the card slot and then 9 on the right side. That ace is a 1. So we gotta make 9 using the 1 and the other cards we got. Oh, so that's it, huh? Well, in that case, the card we need is... You're not gonna tell me? I think I probably have enough to do this now. It's the Baccarat table. There is the glass case in the center of it. Bargain bin legally distinct. Okay, so I need to make a 9 with 3 cards. So what could I do with that? That would be, here's 5, 9, okay. Nice. Yoink! Alright, if I just put down these 3 cards. Yes, open for me. Great, you did it, Junpei. You think it's telling us to take the 8 card? Come on, let's grab it. Alright, let's take this card. Do I get these back? Oh, they're stuck to the table. Okay. But now we can do this thing. Excuse me. Played the PC board too, which is pretty good, but you do miss out on a few cool things from the DS version. Yeah, so far I've only noticed missing the, oh, here we go. I've only noticed the, a little bit of the narration being missing, but what I found is that instead of you having to read the narration, oftentimes it just has you do the thing. Like if it, instead of saying Junpei slammed into the door 5 times, it just shows you slam into the door 5 times by moving the screen to animate it so you see it. So far, I don't think I've missed too much. I played through up until just before this, with the DS version, the room right before this, and I feel like I didn't really miss much on the replay through. But I'm sure there are some cool things. And in you go. Hey, all right, it opened up. It seems we have another device to contend with, yes? There are 3 slots in this one. That's to equal 9, presumably. Not in Time, Dream Team, or Bowser's. I'd be down for all those. Superstar Saga is also really good. That probably means we gotta make 9 with the 3 cards we put in the slots, right? Just like what we did over at the Baccarat table. Why is he British all of a sudden? Alright, let's give it a shot. I mean, I've only got one choice. The cards that I have, 5, 6, which would make 5, 1, and then 8, which is not. Oh no, was that right? Wait, am I stupid? 4, 2. Does that equal 9? Am I dumb? 11. That should equal 18, right? What happens now? Am I dumb? Am I stupid? Hold on. I'm like actually. Is that supposed to equal 9? Five plus 6 plus 7. No, it's 18. I don't really get what this means, but I guess it's saying that like I need to win. Maybe? I don't know. What happens now? Yes, I did hear something from the exit. Excellent work, Junpei. Wonderful. It seems the exit is unlocked. Let's go. Nice. All right, let's go. These puzzles aren't too bad, honestly. I wonder if they're going to get harder later on.
This way.
Yeah, the stuff he misses later on. Got it.
Keyhole with the Venus symbol. The Venus key should work here. It sounds like it did.
Yeah, pretty much like all my friends love this game. I never played it before, so I'm excited to
let's get this thing open.
I'm excited to finally get through it.
No problem.
It may
Let me
use
open-
novel mode? What's novel mode?
It sounds as though you have opened it. We should be able to reach C deck now, I imagine.
Upper right.
Snake, are you gonna be alright? I mean, the stairs.
Please, do not do yourself the embarrassment of underestimating me. I would be unlikely to trip even if I were running backwards.
Is this better? Okay, I was gonna say this seems worse.
Good to hear. Let's move.
Everything looks okay here.
We should check the next deck down, just in case.
Ah, but just level 1 has the OG narration from the DS. Interesting. Is it worth doing it in novel mode?
Just what I thought. D-Deck is completely underwater.
Just like the bottom of the central staircase.
The surface of the water below them is flat, like a mirror.
Just glad the water level hasn't changed much.
Back to the C deck then.
Now, how about we check out what's here?
They began searching around and taking stock of what was on C deck.
There are 2 elevators over there.
Is this Ace
which
Attorney,
means
but
it's
when he
probably
was not
still
Ace?
upstairs.
Maybe.
There's a card reader between them. And another weird mark.
Hey, check it out.
I guess the question is it worth playing it with it blocking the screen for the original narration, or does the original narration not really add much?
What?
See? It's got the woman symbol, and then it's got the devil horns, right?
Junpei, I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah, I see it. No two ways about it. That was a pretty good one, kid.
Seven tousled Junpei's hair in what he likely thought to be a friendly manner. Junpei feared his neck might break, even though it was clear Seven had kept his strength in check.
Oh, would you watch it, man? Whew, that hurts. You're gonna break my neck.
What are you talking about? The human body ain't that weak. Maybe this'll toughen you up, huh?
If we were looking for a devil, we've got one right here.
Thankfully, Snake interrupted. After Junpei's observation, he'd gone over to examine the card reader.
This is a Mercury symbol. The marks you mistook for horns are a stylized version of the wings and staff of Hermes.
Wings and a staff.
I'm guessing this must be like indented into the metal since he's able to feel them.
So then, she beats you with the staff until you die and go to heaven.
Bro.
Sounds like Lotus, all right.
Oh wait, I forgot. Lotus is that thing. Lotus is the dancer girl. I forgot. Seven shook Junpei's head even more vigorously, and the younger man began to feel as though his brain was being jostled about inside of his skull.
Seven, oh, that's too much. Oh, my head.
Junpei's stomach began churning uncomfortably.
Oh, I think I'm gonna puke.
Unless we can activate this device, I doubt the elevator will function.
In other words, we gotta find a key card with a Mercury symbol on it.
So I would assume.
Let's forget the elevators for right now. How about that hallway to the left?
Whoa, there's a bunch of doors.
Oh boy. There were a great many doors lining both sides of the hallway. They seemed to stretch on forever, and all three men suddenly felt very small.
Ah, shit. We're not gonna have enough time to check all these, are we?
Maybe we can come back here later. We should check out the other side. Let's head back.
To the right of the stairs, another hallway stretched out, reaching deep into the bowels of the
To
ship.
the right this time.
Take it back now, y'all. After a few moments of moving briskly down the hallway, they emerged into an area roughly the same size and shape as the one at the top of the stairs. On the left side of the room were 4 French doors.
There are doors here too. Well, I guess it's just 4 this time.
Let's open them up, starting with the closest one there.
Okay, I'm on it.
Junpei nodded and grabbed the one closest to him. He gave it a small tug and felt it move.
It isn't locked. I'm going to open it.
Thrilled to have found another unlocked door, he threw it open. Junpei didn't know what to make of what he saw.
What?
Oh. He simply stood, unable to speak. Seven's eyes opened wide and his mouth gaped. After a few long moments, Seven at last managed to speak.
Hey, what is this place? It's so huge and empty.
A massive room stretched out in front of them, more as cavern than a room. Its vastness was oppressive, and it bore down on Seven and Junpei. It was not empty, however. The entire room was filled with lines upon lines of beds. They were simple things, little more than pipe and thin mattress.
Oh, there are beds everywhere.
Is this a hospital? The harsh scent in the air is reminiscent of antiseptic solution.
I think so. There are shelves in the center of the room with medicine and surgical tools.
Hey, look there. The 4 doors at the end.
All of them are labeled except for one. 3 of them were emblazoned with large single-digit numbers made with thick red paint.
The left door says 3. The second door is blank, but the third has a 7. And the rightmost door is 8. There's no doubt.
Very
They're
good,
numbered doors.
Junpei.
Hey, why is that door between 3 and 7 blank? Does that mean anything?
No point worrying about it right now. Let's see if these will open first.
Yeah, good idea.
The 3 of them threaded their way through the beds toward the back of the room. Upon reaching them, they proceed to investigate each door in turn, but to no avail. That door's oh so close, so I wasn't expecting that.
Yep, locked. Just like I thought.
Naturally. After all, there are rules to the nonary game, and to allow these doors to open easily would violate those rules. Unless we can authenticate ourselves with the red, the numbered doors will...
Whoa, whoa, check this out.
Suddenly, Seven spoke up, interrupting
Look at the
Snake.
red. There's nothing on it.
Huh?
Don't you remember the red back at the main staircase? If there wasn't anyone in it, it said vacant on the little screen, remember?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're right.
Why is that? I kind of thought we would meet back up with everybody after like one room, so I'm a bit surprised that it's been like we've had to go through another room and yet more, and we still haven't reunited with the other group.
Right? You think it's broken?
Only one way to find out.
No, nothing.
Junpei and the others put their hands on the panel, but nothing happened. The red refused to change. They tried pulling the lever and still nothing. As they soon discovered, it wasn't only the red on door 8 that seemed to be malfunctioning.
How about the red on door 7?
9 hours, 9 persons, 9 doors. A normal and good name for a game to have. So true. How are you doing, Twinkle? I consider certain based on my own experience since it's been a while, but it looks like a lot of people think using novel mode is better, so it can set the atmosphere, and for describing detail they can't show you otherwise. When you're in adventure mode, it does force you into novel mode whenever something really important happens. So it's up to you, TB.
And door 3?
This isn't that oppressive. I mean, this isn't too bad. I kind of wish it had a different format, but...
I didn't think all of them would be malfunctioning.
Let me see.
What does it mean?
I mean, this really isn't much better. Like, just showing it like this.
They've got to be broken. Man, that bastard. I didn't think Zero was the kind of guy who'd screw around with something like this.
Whoa, whoa. Zero's been prepared for everything so far, and you're saying he's gonna make a mistake now?
Well, that's the only thing I can think of. This thing ain't working at all.
Yeah, that's true, DZ. That's true. And if I really want to see it, I can always click this in the middle and it'll just quickly switch over to it. And when they have expressions, they'll show the expression still, even on the screen. I feel like it doesn't need to be like this. I guess I don't understand why they thought having it do this as opposed to just having it be like a text box down here with a specific text box for narration. I think that would have worked just the same and maybe been a little bit better, but whatever. I guess this way maybe you can like have it all come out at once maybe, and like if you have the voice acting off, you could choose to voice act it yourself. I don't really know. You're existing for sure today? Yeah, I get that. Whatever happens, happens. We'll figure it out. While Junpei and Seven talked, Snake busied himself with examining the red. After a time, he lowered his hands and spoke.
It seems as if some of the internal hardware has been removed.
Huh?
Internal hardware?
That is what I said. Take a look at the underside of this red, if you please.
Okay, why does it feel like Snake is actually like... Why does Snake feel kind of like Percy? Maybe I am going to like Snake a lot. I really like Percy.
The bottom?
Junpei obliged and bent over to look at the underside of the device.
Huh. There's
That
a
is what I
slot
said.
here. I think it's a slot for something. Probably electronic.
Have you considered using your dick?
The other two reds are the same. Something's been removed from all three of them.
I get it. So the reds aren't working because somebody pulled out their guts.
So I assume.
But why?
Why? Oh. I literally did not mean to say the exact same thing as Junpei.
And who? I mean, it really doesn't make sense.
I have no idea. Why on earth would I know something like that?
I understand that they have 2 modes to emulate the 2 screens of the DS, but I don't feel like this is so important they had to forego like a literal normal visual novel format. Yeah, exactly. I don't really get why they chose to do that. Maybe it was easier for the transition, but it's all right. It's a pretty good port so far. So, just then, they heard the sound of a door opening.
Oh, what now?
The 3 of them turned and saw Akane. Oh no, Junpei thought it's...
June!
She stopped short, surprised to see them, and was very nearly bowled over by the rest of her companions who were coming through the door behind her.
Ace, Santa, Clover, and Lotus.
Guess everyone's here.
Junpei and Seven were, for the moment, at a loss for words.
What are you guys doing?
Why are you...
That's my line?
Perhaps we should exchange information.
After a moment of silence and surprise, everyone suddenly began to talk, desperate to exchange information. They talked about the rooms they'd been through and how they'd ended up in the same place. Of course, none of it was very useful information, but that hardly mattered. They were happy to simply see one another again. Although the level of cheer varied greatly from person to person, so each one of them was wearing some manner of smile, almost as though they had already forgotten about the death of the ninth man. I mean, who wouldn't forget it, you know? No, thought Junpei. Perhaps that wasn't it. Perhaps thoughts of his death were what drove them to smile at one another. Not in a morbid or hateful way, no. The ninth man had died, but they were still alive, and that was something to be happy about. Who? A sort of simple, uncomplicated joy, Junpei thought, the joy of being alive. Still alive. Felt sorry for the ninth man, but more than anything, Junpei was just happy to be alive.
And that's what we know.
With that, Junpei finished his own explanation.
Well, this isn't good. If the red is inactive, we can't keep going.
What about that big hallway? Maybe there's somewhere in there we might be able to go.
No, there's nothing there. The 5 of us had a quick look.
I don't know if I love Ace's voice.
There are plenty more hospital rooms, but nothing else.
You mean all those doors are for hospital rooms?
Yes. There are a number of individual rooms in addition to this large one.
There was a door at the end of the hallway, but it was locked.
It had one of those
Doesn't
solar
charm
system
you.
mark things on it.
It was the Jupiter symbol.
Okay, when I was running through this, a couple days ago to get back up to where I was, I thought for a hot minute that Santa had Kakashi's voice actor. He doesn't, I don't think, but for a moment it sounded like Kakashi to me when he talked.
Jupiter.
I wonder what it means.
Confusion seemed to be the consensus.
While we're asking what things mean, what's the deal with this room? I mean, I thought this was a cruise ship, but I can't imagine a cruise ship would have a hospital like this.
No one, not even Snake, appeared ready to offer an answer until Seven unexpectedly spoke up.
Well, I figure it's probably a hospital ship. Chances are it's the Gigantic.
The Gigantic?
Junpei looked at Seven, shocked both by his knowledge and the apparent identity of their prison. Okay, but should we really be shocked? He looks like he works at the docks. Does he not? Like, this is like the outfit that a dock worker would wear in Japan. Junpei looked at Seven, shocked both by his knowledge and the apparent identity of their prison. And he was not the only one. Why don't they just cut their hands off so they don't have to wear the watches? Well, they die then. If not from blood loss, then from the bomb. Or from the ship sinking.
What is this gigantic?
Seven nodded to Lotus and began to
The
speak.
Gigantic. She was a sister ship to the Titanic, built in the early 20th century. Actually, the Titanic had 2 sister ships. And they were
My
exactly the
penis?
same. The Gigantic was situated...
This isn't real, right? There are a couple of sister Titanic ships, or ships that are sisters to the Titanic, but I don't think I don't think the Gigantic is one of them.
They intended to make her a passenger liner like the Titanic, but World War I began soon after the ship launched. The British Navy took her over and made her a hospital ship. At some point during the war, the Gigantic was damaged by a German mine in the Aegean Sea.
Isn't this what happened with like what is it? There is actually like a real sister ship. I don't think it's not called the Gigantic, but I think something similar happened to that one. I think it was hit by a torpedo or something.
She ran aground afterwards, so she didn't end up sunk. What happened to her after that? One theory going around is that a man named Lord Gordain bought her.
Oh, dude, Lord Godane. I can hate that guy.
Seemed like he'd been one of the few to survive the Titanic sinking. That trauma turned him into some kind of obsessive collector of all things related to the Titanic. Soon enough, the guy wanted the Titanic itself. Which was impossible, of course. It's stuck at the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean. But the Gigantic wasn't. And seeing as she was identical...
So you're saying this Lord Gordain bought this ship?
Yeah, at least I think I am.
That's impossible. No way we're in some boat that's almost 100 years old.
Okay, but do you not like kind of hear Kakashi's like intonations in Santa's voice?
Pipe down, just pay attention. What, that's it? Well, have you got any proof?
Proof?
Proof that this ship is really the
Proof?
Gigantic?
I didn't really think about the whole proof thing.
Well, this ship's got stuff that's like the Titanic and a hospital ship. So...
Oh, for goodness. Don't tell me that's your only reason.
No, I've got more.
I mean, I don't know. That's a. I mean, it's not like it wouldn't be like a court case, but that's a pretty reasonable explanation. I feel like.
Like?
Well, I mean...
This isn't like completely unreasonable. You have a couple pieces of evidence. It seems like a reasonable extrapolation. Lotus. Seven looked around desperately, doing anything to avoid meeting Lotus's piercing stare. He scratched his head for a moment, then gave up. Finally, he opened his mouth.
I don't know.
Lotus sighed and shook her head.
Guess your memory isn't back yet, is it?
Yeah, sorry about that.
Then, almost as if to save Seven from further embarrassment, Phoenix Wright could make it work, so I think he's onto something. Huh. A bell began to ring from far away.
A bell.
It sounds like the clock in the main stairway.
Junpei counted each chime carefully.
10, 11, 12. Huh, 12.
It's midnight. Then we've still got 6 hours left, right?
Let's get going. We gotta find the missing parts for the Reds.
What do you mean, find? How on earth do you propose we do that?
We've looked everywhere in this room.
They'd been examining the room as they
We
talked.
haven't found anything.
Right.
That only leaves one place to look.
One?
Well, not just one.
Huh?
Wait. Don't tell me you mean we need to search all of the other rooms.
Well, you already checked some of them out before you came here, right?
We each checked a single room, so 5 rooms in total.
All right then. That's 5 rooms we don't have to search. We just have to split up the rest between the 8 of us. If each of us can do 6 rooms apiece, we'll have the other 48 rooms cleared in no time.
There are 48.
Ingo
other
Mao?
rooms?
Lotus did not seem excited by the prospect. Seven fidgeted nervously before responding.
Maybe?
After some discussion, the 8 of them decided which rooms to begin with and in what order they would go. Junpei was chosen to search the rooms on the starboard side, moving from fore to aft.
All right, so everyone knows which area they're searching?
Yeah.
Yes!
They also determined when they would return to report their findings, the next time the clock sounded the time. When it did, they would meet back in the large central room full of
We'll all
beds.
meet up when the clock goes off again. How about in that room with all the beds?
Yeah, sounds straightforward enough.
If, during their search, any one of them were to locate the missing components, they would yell for the
I'll shout
others.
if I find any of the components we need.
I hope we can find them within the time limit.
If this strategy failed, they'd return to discuss their options later.
Can't? Then we'll just have to come up with another plan.
Right.
Then let's do this.
The details decided, they left to begin searching. Out into the hallway they went, each to the rooms they'd been assigned. However... From far away, Junpei heard the bell ring. It did so only once. It was 1 a.m.
It's 1. I better get back to the others.
They ain't gonna be there, are they? He jogged through the entrance of the large hospital room and to find 6 of the others already there. 6, huh? Ace, Santa, Clover, June, 7, and Lotus. They had gathered in front of door number 8. Or perhaps, to be accurate, they had gathered in front of the red next to door number 8.
What are they doing over there?
Had one of them found the missing piece?
What happened, guys?
It was June who answered him.
Jumpy, look!
He was pointing at the red. He pushed through the others until they stood in front of it. Immediately, he knew what she had meant. Junpei sighed.
Come on, guys. Who was it? I thought we were supposed to yell if we found it.
Well,
Junpei wondered why she was hesitating. The others looked as confused as June, but kept their mouths shut.
No. What is up with you guys?
They all knew something he didn't, and Junpei wasn't about to leave things that way. Finally, Lotus frowned and spoke.
Well, that's the thing. We don't know.
You don't know?
When I got back, it was already like this. There was no one else here. That means I was the first one back, but the missing parts were already back in the red.
What? Let me see.
Junpei looked at the bottom of the red again, just to make sure. The slot that had been open on the bottom was now covered with metal.
Right. It's in there.
So are we like being like gated? Like we can't go too fast?
What about the other 2?
They're the same.
Let me take a look.
Junpei quickly examined the other 2 boxes.
It's just as you said.
Satisfied that they were also repaired, but still very confused, he returned to the others.
Alright, I just want to be sure here. Nobody has any idea what the hell happened here, right?
Correct.
none.
Ace and June nodded silently. 7 raised his hands as if to say, "Not me," and Santa shrugged. Only Clover lowered her head and did nothing.
Wait a minute.
That was when he noticed.
Where's Snake?
Junpei swept his eyes across the room a second time, but Snake was nowhere to be seen.
Does that mean that he found them?
I've no idea. There's nothing to suggest it, but nothing to suggest he didn't either.
I don't suppose we'll know until we can ask him in person.
Well, whatever he did or didn't do, he's pretty damn late. What the hell is he up to?
He's blind, man.
Maybe he's lost.
Yeah, well, that seems likely. Dude can't see. I don't know how he gets around in the first place.
Clover raised her head.
No! That's impossible!
Suddenly she was shouting.
Well, my brother's blind, but he's got really great hearing. He can get around as well as anyone who can see.
Yeah, it's not perfect, but I definitely hear it.
So he couldn't get lost. That's impossible.
Clover started to shake, and the knuckles of her hands had gone white. She spun around, but before she did, Junpei noticed tears welling up in her eyes.
I'm gonna go look for him.
The words were barely out of her mouth when she began to run.
Hey, hold on, Clover. Wait.
Yeah, like it's not perfect, but yeah, it's just like the way he says things, like the intonation of his voice has like a very Kakashi feel to it. Junpei cried out to her, but he was too slow. She kept going, and before anyone else could react, she was gone.
Well, that didn't work.
Nice, man.
Damn it. What should we do now?
Well, the red is working now.
No, we're not leaving 2 people behind. We should go look for them.
Oh man, this ain't good.
Oh, yes, what an excellent idea. We just wasted a bunch of time looking for some piece of electronic junk. Now let's waste some more by looking for a couple of idiots.
Then remain here if you feel you must, but there's no time. We've only 5 hours left.
Junpei and the others nodded to one another and took off at a run. In front of the stairs that led to B deck, they decided to split up.
Split up.
All right.
It's a little funny when they have the narration and then he says like exactly what the narration implied. Like they decided to split up. Hey, let's split up.
Then I shall look that way.
I'll be over here.
See you all later.
Soon, only 2 of them were left. Those two were Junpei and June, who had been a few steps behind the others.
All right, we should go too.
Yes, let's go. But where should we start?
Let's see.
Well, where were they supposed to be checking? We don't know that. A large hospital room, the hallway with all the rooms. The first class cabin. Maybe this? First class cabin, because he talked about... He's the one who propped open the door, right?
Oh, what about the first class cabin on B deck?
Okay, let's go, Jumpy.
They took off up the stairs at a run. Outside of the first class cabin, they found Clover. She was standing in front of the wall. She was staring at a meaningless point on the wall, her eyes blank. What should Junpei do?
Are you all right?
He did his best to sound friendly, but Clover didn't respond.
Look, I know you're really worried, but
He could think of no words to say that didn't sound hollow and fake. Junpei hesitated. Clover was so consumed by worry and fear that Junpei feared it would crush her. Her actions didn't surprise him. She had suddenly lost her brother, who she seemed to have been very close to. Her voice was thin and barely audible.
I said leave me alone!
Suddenly, she was screaming.
You're so annoying! Just go away and leave me alone! Just looking at you guys is pissing me off! Go away, okay? Just go somewhere else! Stop bothering me!
Junpei was taken aback. Such anger and hate. June's eyes had gone wide with surprise as well.
Still here! Did you hear me?
Dang, Benj, calm down.
Huh? Fine, forget it. If you aren't gonna leave, then I'll just...
all right. Let's go, June.
Yeah.
To be fair, when I chose that option, I didn't expect Junpei to have the emotional support skills of like a 5-year-old child, but they turned and left Clover. As they did, Junpei glanced back over her shoulder to see Clover wiping tears from her face. Clover had driven home the misery of their situation, but Junpei told himself that getting depressed would get him nowhere but There's no way that's the line, right? But Junpei told himself that getting depressed would get him nowhere but depressed.
We really need to find Snake, for Clover's sake.
He did his best to push away the misery and depression and forced a smile.
So, where do you think we should go next?
Okay, so we're just not gonna check it out? He like stopped us before we got there though. If I head back here, I'm gonna run into her again, right?
How about the casino?
Let's go take a look.
They turned and headed off down the hallway to their right at a jog. Where did she stop us? I'm so confused. Before they knew it, they were there. So was Lotus. She was leaning against the wall, examining her nails.
What do you think you're doing?
She glanced up at him, unimpressed.
Isn't it obvious? I'm looking for Snake.
I'm just not seeing it.
Really? Maybe you need to look harder.
I don't think that's the problem.
Oh, by the way, I've got a proposal for you two. Care to hear it?
What is it?
Well, I don't like to beat around the bush, so I'll get right to it. Why don't we team up?
Team up?
Yeah. What? You need me to explain it to you? I'm saying, why don't we go through a numbered door?
Even if we wanted to, that's impossible.
Why?
Jumpy's bracelet number is 5, mine is 6, and yours is 8. Our digital route would be 1. But there's no number 1 door in the large hospital room.
I love how every time they do the digital route, they like they like tell you how the digital route works again. It's like I get it, man.
The only doors there are 3, 7, and 8.
Then we add another person.
What is this? What is this clip?
Huh?
Who?
What? Isn't that easy? 7.
Oh, if we add 7, 5 plus 6 plus 8 plus 7 equals 26. The digital root of 20...
And the 4 of them can go through the number 8 door, but...
Wait a minute. What about the other 4? Ace, Snake, Santa, and...
Well, why don't you add them up?
That was simple enough. 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 is 10.
And 1 plus 0 equals 1. The digital root for those 4 would be 1.
That's right.
And you know the number 1 door isn't in the big hospital room, right?
Of course I know that.
No! Are you saying you'd leave them behind?
Of course not. What kind of woman do you think I am? Once we get off the ship, we could come back and rescue them, couldn't we? Then we wouldn't really be leaving them behind.
Shut up. I know for a fact this lady would not come
Don't
back for
try
them.
to lie to us.
Like,
I
come
don't
on,
think
man.
you do anything of the sort.
Really?
Being
Why
depressed
don't
gets you nowhere but depressed.
You remember, don't you? We have less than 5 hours left. Even if we manage to escape, there's no way we could come back to rescue them in less than 5 hours.
Well, you never know until you try.
No, you're not thinking this through. Even if we brought 7 with us, we wouldn't be able to get off the ship. The 4 of us couldn't open door 9. It is hidden, but an exit can be found. Seek a way out. Seek a door that carries a 9.
Yeah, that's right. The digital root for the 4 of us would be 8, so we'd have to add Ace to make 9.
That's right. Unless we bring Ace too, we'll be stuck.
Let us scratch the back of her ear.
Well, that's unfortunate.
Unfortunate. That's all you have to say?
She didn't sound particularly bothered by what Junpei said, nor did she seem particularly surprised.
Well, let's try and find another way, okay? A way to get out of here with all 8 of us.
That's impossible. Are you being serious? And you do know that only 5 people, at most, can go through one of the numbered doors, right? The number 9 isn't going to be an exception to that rule. Regardless, at least 3 people will get left behind.
Huh?
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Bruh. The moment he said it, Junpei felt the chill run down his spine.
Wait just a second. You're skipping over a really big detail.
Yes, what she said was true, but how Lotus could remain cavalier about so terrifying a prospect was beyond him.
Is that really okay? That means 3 people will die in the end. Are you okay with that? That's just...
Lotus's forehead
I
furrowed.
can have a moment alone. There's some things I need to think about.
That didn't turn out to be a very pleasant conversation.
Yeah.
Junpei's heart felt heavy and his steps sluggish. But he told himself pessimism would get them nowhere, but pessimistic. So he forced himself to smile and turned to June.
Just focus on finding Snake for now, okay?
Yes, you're right. We can think about those other things later.
Yeah.
Junpei nodded.
Alright. Where should we go next?
First class cabin. I can do that again now?
Let's go.
What happens if I go here?
First class cabin. It's really close.
They turned around and took off down the hallway to their left.
No one's here. Maybe we'll have more luck somewhere, but where?
Okay. I just keep flip-flopping back and forth.
Hey, why
First
don't we go
class
back to
cabin.
C deck? We can take a look at that hallway with all the rooms.
Okay, let's get going then.
Together they ran down the stairs.
Oh, it's Ace.
Ahead of them, further down the hallway, they spotted
Hey,
Ace.
Snake! Where are you? Answer me if you're there!
What should Junpei do? Run to Ace into his loving, muscular arms.
Let's go.
With June in tow, Junpei jogged up to Ace. Hearing their footsteps, he turned to greet them.
Ah, hello there. Snake is... Well, that's obvious, isn't it? I assume you haven't found him yet?
Yeah, doesn't seem like you're having any luck either.
I really wonder where he could have gone.
Well, wherever he's disappeared to, we must find him as quickly as we can. For Clover's sake.
Right.
Hmm? June's face looked kinda enraptured.
By the way, do you think Clover and Snake are really siblings?
Why would you say that?
Why would you say that? The question seems somehow odd to Junpei.
Well, It's obvious, isn't it? They don't look alike at all.
Ace looked at him for a moment and then spoke.
Yes, you know, now that you mention it, they don't.
Now that you mention it?
Still, there are a great many siblings who do not look like one another. It certainly isn't rare.
Junpei wasn't sure why or even if he was seeing what he thought he was, but he could have sworn that Ace's face tightened as he spoke.
At any rate, we really must find Snake as soon as possible. The clock is ticking. We really can't afford to waste any time. Very well. Let's get back to the search, shall we? You can leave this area to me.
All right. Let's go, Jumpy.
June's urging, they left. So was he back in the hospital room then? Ivanus was back at the stairs, but Junpei's mind was in turmoil.
I'll think on it later. Like Ace said, finding Snake is our top priority.
Junpei did his best to clear his
All right.
mind.
Where should we go next?
I guess back to the large hospital room.
Back to the big hospital room.
Okay, let's go then.
They turned and headed back toward the large hospital room.
Hey, wait. That's...
On their way to the large hospital room, Junpei and June noticed Santa standing next to the number 3 door.
Santa?
Junpei paused. What should Junpei do? Junpei and June walked up to Santa.
What are you doing?
What? You can't tell? I'm checking out the red.
Why? Is there something bothering you?
What? It's not bothering you?
Huh?
The guts of this red. Why wouldn't you wonder who the hell put it back in here?
Yeah, that's true. Well, I'm curious too, but
Who do you think did it?
Santa's eyes narrowed as he looked at June. She shook her
I
head.
don't know.
Well, what about you, Junpei? Who do you think fixed this thing for us?
Zero.
I think it was probably Zero.
Why?
Isn't that obvious? He's the guy who set this whole thing up.
It was me.
You don't think that should mean the opposite? Seems to me like that means he didn't do it. I mean, who do you think took that stuff out in the first place?
I think he did. I think he's doing it as like a gate.
Yeah, exactly. Then why the hell would he put him back in after he'd taken them out himself? It just doesn't make sense. Why do all that work?
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
So, what happened then? Who put that stuff back in the Reds?
Junpei furrowed his brow.
So, in other words, one of us is the person who fixed the red.
Santa grinned.
Bingo, we have a winner.
Okay, but like, why can't it be a ship gate?
But if that's true, then the person who did it doesn't want the rest of us to know that they fixed it.
Yeah,
But why?
no idea. Maybe if they come clean on that, it means we'd find out something else. Something bad.
Something bad?
Dunno. But whatever it is, it's gotta be worth hiding. Of course, it could have something to do with Snake's disappearance.
You think maybe they did something to Snake?
Santa grinned.
Yeah.
Junpei stared at Santa. There was something about him that made Junpei wary. At first, he'd assumed the other man wasn't terribly clever, but Junpei was beginning to think he would need to reevaluate that assessment. When Santa spoke again, his voice was quiet.
Look, if you trust anybody in this
Praying for you,
game,
Baffo.
you're gonna lose. You've gotta be careful. The person you trust the most could turn out to be the one who stabs you in the back.
With that depressing suggestion, he turned and quietly walked away.
It's that, I guess.
Junpei and June looked at one another and smiled awkwardly. Where'd they go next? Finish searching, I guess. They looked everywhere they could think of, but Snake was nowhere to be found.
Snake hasn't been anywhere we've searched.
Lotus looked around at 6 frustrated faces
We
and
can't
spoke.
keep looking for him. Wherever he is, it's not here. We need to get moving.
Junpei couldn't disagree with what she was saying. Snake seemed to have completely disappeared. There was no point into wasting any more time. The others seemed to be having similar thoughts, but they stayed silent. Finally, 7 spoke.
We don't got a choice. Lotus is right. We're not gonna find Snake. There's a problem, though. We've got to figure out who's gonna go through which door.
Yes, I have a proposal.
She walked back and forth across the floor, her heels clicking against the wood. Finally, she stopped.
Why don't we decide on one person to sacrifice?
Sacrifice?
Well, perhaps that's a bit of a harsh word, but yes, you've all figured it out by now, haven't you? We can't all make it through those doors. If we split into 2 teams of 4 and 3 people respectively, then 3 people will be left behind. If we split into 2 teams of 5 and 2 people respectively, then 2 people will be left behind. But if we split into 2 groups of 3 and leave 1 person out, then only 1 person will be left behind.
Leaving behind 3 people with 2 teams of 4 and 3. Not sure she was right? What? Is this making me check the math and see if she's correct? Oops. So what do we have left right now? I don't remember who we have left. Not sure. Junpei wasn't quite sure that was
Wait a
true.
minute. 2 people get left behind if we split into 5 and 2, and 1 person is left behind if we split into 3, 3, and 1. I got that part. You can't go through the numbered doors with any less than 3 people. But if we split into 4 and 3, then why do 3 people have to be left behind?
Just run the numbers. Let's say we go through door 7 with 1, 4, 5, 6. Who's left over?
That would be 3, 7, 8.
What's the digital root for that?
3 plus 7 plus 8 is 18, so add 1, 8, 9.
Exactly. But door 9 isn't here, right? That means 3, 7, 8 won't be going anywhere. That was just an example, of course. There are a lot of different combinations, but the result will always be the same. It doesn't matter which 4 it is. The 3 that are left over can't go through any of the doors. Go ahead and calculate it if you have the time. Anyway, that's how it is. Now, if we can get back to my proposal, we only have to sacrifice 1 person if we split into 3, 3, and 1.
When Seven spoke, his voice was strained.
Then you're saying we gotta decide who's gonna stay behind.
Yes, we do. Given our circumstances, it's logically and morally the best solution. If the other 6 are to survive, then 1 person has to sacrifice themselves.
You.
No, that's too cruel.
What's so cruel about it?
To just sacrifice someone like that?
Then what's your plan? Maybe we should sacrifice 2 people instead of just 1.
That's not what I meant. We shouldn't sacrifice anyone.
I told you, that's impossible. Wake up.
Whoa, whoa. Calm down, you 2.
And to sit between Lotus and June.
What Lotus is trying to say is, you should aim to bring the greatest amount of happiness to the greatest amount of people, right?
That's some like Kantian effing moral reasoning.
Exactly. That's how democracy works. And for that reason, I think the only fair way to decide who will be sacrificed is through a vote. What do you think?
No, that's terrible.
I'm not asking you. Shut up. What about you, Santa?
Me? Well, I agree, I guess.
All right, that's 1 vote for. Counting mine, that's 2. 7.
I can't say I agree with you, but we don't exactly have a choice. If we don't do something, we're all gonna die.
Oh, glad to see you get it. If I can get 1 more vote, then it's decided. What about you, Clover?
Clover had moved away from the group and was sitting on one of the beds. Her whole body drooped. Junpei didn't know if she'd even heard Lotus's proposal.
Hey, Clover.
Lotus walked over to Clover and gently laid a hand on her shoulder.
Your brother has to be behind one of the numbered doors.
Does he, though?
We've searched everywhere, but we didn't find him. Doesn't that mean he has to have gone through one of them somehow?
Clover slowly lifted her
Let's go
face.
look for him together, okay? If we sacrifice 1 person, then we can go look for him. You agree with me, right? Okay.
Stupid bench, dude. Clover nodded once.
The motion carries.
Lotus spun around and walked toward Junpei.
Now, let's start a vote to...
That won't be necessary.
Ace had barely spoken for Lotus's entire speech, and everyone jumped a little. 6 pairs of eyes turned to look at him. He didn't seem to notice or even care.
That should solve our problem, yes?
No, Ace, let Lotus stay, dog.
Ace, what are you saying? No, you can't do that. That won't solve anything.
June's voice shook, and she looked around desperately for someone to agree with her. Ace simply looked at her.
I'm afraid you may have misunderstood me. I said I would stay, but I never said I would sacrifice myself.
Huh?
I trust you. Each and every one of you. I believe you'll come back for me.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. There's optimistic, and then there's just nuts. Those doors only go one way. You go in, you don't come out. If we go through them.
You won't be able to return, correct?
Yeah.
True, but that will not be the case once you've escaped from the ship.
What?
Please, I beg you. Once you've escaped, come back and rescue me. Ideally, within the time limit Zero has given us.
No, that's ridiculous. There's no way we could get back in time.
Finally, Junpei could hold his tongue no
We've only
longer.
got 5 hours left. We don't even know where the hell we are. How on earth are we gonna find someone to come and rescue you?
Then, perhaps you would prefer to stay instead of me? Or perhaps you would be willing to leave June behind?
Ace's voice was dignified and without a hint of cruelty or malice. Junpei had no rebuttal.
You see, there's no other choice. Then I see we've come to our conclusion. Go on. Don't worry yourselves about me. Go, quickly.
Bruh. Junpei stood frozen by indecision, unable to move. June bit her lips so hard that Junpei feared she would break the skin. Santa stood against the wall, calm and aloof. Seven tore his beanie from his head and turned it over anxiously in his hands. Only Clover stared at Ace with an expression Junpei was unable to decipher. Lotus's attitude, however, was different from the others.
Let's accept his kind offer then.
I hate you. She smiled, her eyes bright. Ace answered with a smile of his own.
I think this is the best for me. Perhaps I'll be able to take a nap. It may be my age, but I get tired so easily these days.
As he spoke, Ace lowered himself down to the floor next to one of the beds. Bruh. I want her dead! From somewhere deep in the ship, Junpei suddenly heard the screeching of metal on metal. It was almost as if the ship were screaming. Would it really hold until their time limit was up? Already, D-Deck was flooded. In the sudden silence, the only sound was the sad middle wail of the ship. Unsurprisingly, it was Lotus who spoke first.
What are you waiting for? We're wasting time. Why don't we hurry it up?
As if a spell had been broken, the others all began to talk at once.
You're right. We should get going. That's all we can do right now.
7.
Seriously. Honestly, I was getting kind of sick of listening to you guys talk.
You too, Santa? I have to find my brother. Wait, all of you. Let's just calm down and think about this. There has to be a way to get everyone out. There has to be. Right, Jumpy? Say something.
Yeah, let's think. There's gotta be another way.
His words sounded hollow and fake.
Fine. Forget about it. I'll figure it out on my own.
He spun around and ran toward Ace. He had slumped down next to the bed when June grabbed his arm and pulled.
Come on, Ace. Please stand up. You can't give up yet. We just have to sit down together and think about this. We'll figure out a way that we can all get out of here.
Then it happened. Ace fell forward. He slumped over onto the wooden floor, his body folded in half like a boxer out cold.
Ace!
Huh? June cried out and dropped to her knees beside him. She put her arm around his neck and did her best to lift him up.
What happened? Ace, say something.
She shook him frantically. His eyes fluttered open.
I'm all right.
His voice was weak and slightly slurred.
How are you all right?
This.
He held out his left arm and slowly opened his hand.
A syringe?
Bruh. In it was a syringe and a small vial. The vial was empty. It had only recently been emptied. A few drops clung to the sides. There was a label taped to the side of the container. It read Soporil Beta. Soporil Beta?
Soporil
What does this
What
do?
does this do?
Oh.
Did you use this?
Yes. It's just anesthetic. I'll be fine.
Anesthetic.
I found it earlier. While we were searching the hospital rooms, I thought it might be useful later. I didn't think I'd be using it on myself.
Why did you do this?
Didn't I tell you? I'd like to take a nap. I really am very tired.
Junpei knew that wasn't why he'd done it. Ace had injected himself and then decided to forestall Junpei and Jun's attempt to bring him along. If he couldn't move, there was nothing they could do. He'd injected himself so that they would be forced to leave him behind.
Ace.
Is there something you want to say? I'd just like to sleep a little. Could you keep it down?
No, don't, Ace. Don't fall asleep.
You feel warm. So comfortable. I think I'll have a nice dream.
Ace's eyelids drooped further and further, almost as though he were dying.
Ace! Ace!
He shook his shoulder again and again, but this time he didn't respond. Only the gentle rising and falling of his chest told him he was alive. Junpei was relieved to see he was, in fact, still breathing.
Let's get him up on a bed.
He lifted Ace up off the floor and laid him on the bed he'd been leaning against. Okay, just him? That's pretty... Is Junpei secretly really strong or something? When Junpei turned around, Lotus gave him a look of pity.
Well, we really don't have a choice now. We can't let his sacrifice go to waste, right?
Like you even mean that.
You say something?
No, nothing.
Junpei, be a bit more confident, dog. Tear her apart. Felt wrong, but he had to agree. Then suddenly, Santa spoke.
Yeah, but we're not done choosing yet, are we?
Huh? What do you mean?
Well, we haven't decided who's going in what door.
Ah, yes. Yes, that's true.
Enough of this screwing around. Let's decide. You first, Lotus. Which door do you want?
I want door number 8. It's the same number as my bracelet number.
Got it. You're 8. You're next, 7. Which one do you want?
I'll take 7. I can't get along with that old lady.
What? What did you just say?
Her face distorted by rage, Lotus took a step towards 7. He threw up his hands and made a face like a child caught with his hand in a cookie jar.
Oh, Pete? I didn't say nothing.
Oh, you're gonna get it next time.
He shot him a glare that would have melted steel, then turned and stalked off.
All right, who's next?
Santa's gaze moved across the 3 people left. Finally, they stopped on Junpei.
Which door do you want?
Alas, Junpei's mind was already made up. Door 3, door 7, door 8. If I choose door 3, then we're split up into 3 groups, right? Which is the opposite of what we want. There's some chaos into it, though. What do folks want me to do? I'm gonna go take a pee break real quick. Figure out what you want me, which door you want me to choose. I think you should be able to make a poll now, Sheepy. In theory. I'm back. Door 8 because it's even? Well, Sheepy's the only one who said anything, so I guess I'll go door 8. Where Faye? Faye here. Wait, there was a poll? Oh boy. Door 8 won anyway. Okay.
I think I'm gonna go with door 8. Okay, 8 it is. Yeah. All right then.
We love these streams. They're so quaint. Viewer count so low. So intimate and friendly. Well, I'm glad.
What?
Bad streamer.
Why?
So true.
What?
Oh! Santa grimaced and muttered angrily to himself, but finally began to explain.
If the 6 of us are gonna keep going without leaving anyone behind, there are only 3 ways we can do it.
Plan A.
3, 5, and 8 go through 7, and 4, 6, and 7 go through 8. 4, 5, and 7 go through 7, and 3, 6, and 8 go through 8. Or 3, 6, and 7 go through 7, and 4, 5, and 8 get 8. There are no other combinations. In other words, 3 and 4 and 7 and 8 can never go through the same doors. You get it now?
As Santa finished, June looked over at Junpei, tears welling up at the corners of her eyes.
No, you're saying we aren't gonna see each other again for a long time.
Junpei felt just as June did. He wanted to be at her side through whatever trials they were preparing to face. But he knew if they were to survive, he had to swallow his feelings. In order for the 6 of them to move forward, he and June had to be separated. He looked at June. He was scared to lose her, but he swallowed, steeled his resolve, and did his best to smile.
Hey, come on. You're making it sound like we're never gonna see each other again. We gotta split up, but only for a while.
It's up, Adrian.
This is just like when we went into the 4 and 5 doors, remember? We got split up then too, but we all met back up. I'll bet 7 and 8 are just like that.
You mean they're connected somewhere?
Yeah, probably.
I gotta believe that Sheepy's leading me down the best possible path.
Probably.
It didn't sound very hopeful. It was 7 that interjected.
I'm sure they're gonna connect somewhere.
Why? What makes you think so?
If they don't...
You don't recall the different endings?
Door
Psh,
9.
classic. If they don't, then neither team can get through door 9.
Words, the game would
Why did
end
I
right
read that?
here. Zero's been on top of his shit so far. I don't think he'd blow it now. I'm damn sure that son of a bitch wants to have his fun as long as possible. He's not gonna end this game until we get through the 9 door.
June said nothing. The tears were gone, but her eyes were still sad as they looked at Junpei. He met them, and with what reassurance he could manage, laid his hand gently on her shoulder.
Everything's gonna be fine. We're gonna see each other again. I promise.
June bit her lip and gave him an almost imperceptible nod.
Promise?
Her voice was barely above a whisper. Santa's voice shattered the moment.
You guys are done, right?
He stretched and continued.
Anyway, that's pretty much it. Clover and I will both go into separate groups. I figure I'll take 7 and Clover can take 8. Any problems with that, Clover?
Clover looked away and was silent for a moment.
Whatever.
It was more of a dismissal than an agreement, but Santa didn't seem to care.
All right, we're ready to go then. Let's move.
At Santa's command, the group split and headed for their respective doors. Santa, 7, and June walked toward door 7, while Clover, Lotus, and Junpei headed for door 8. For a long moment, they stood in front of the door. Then Lotus laid her hand against her chest and turned to Junpei and
Are you
Clover.
ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Then shall we go?
Oh, wait, you put me with, I just realized you put me with Lotus? Come on, guys, what the F?
It's open.
A narrow hallway stretched out before them.
Okay.
I'm gonna save really quick. Probably should like do some like additional save slots. No.
Hurry!
Lotus and Clover leapt through the door. The moment they did, their bracelets beeped. The detonators in the bracelets had been activated. Classic Brendan, like mean lady. Junpei stepped forward to follow them. But as he was about to step over the threshold, he stopped. He looked to his left, toward door 7. June stood there, a mirror image of Junpei. She turned and looked toward him. Their eyes met.
Jumpy.
They nodded. Their farewell took almost 1.5
What
seconds.
the hell are you doing?
Then someone took hold of Junpei's arms and hauled him bodily, through the door. What does that mean, bodily? He heard the sound of the numbered door slam shut behind him. His bracelet gave a cold, electronic beep.
81 seconds left. Hurry!
Lotus snapped at him and ran to the dead. Junpei and Clover followed her as fast as they could.
It stopped.
With a shaking head, she wiped a few beads of sweat from her forehead. Clover, however, was calm, aloof perhaps.
Pointless.
She muttered to herself without emotion and began to walk down the hallway, leaving behind a confused Junpei and Lotus. Lotus watched the girls receding back with a mix of frustration and curiosity.
What an unpleasant girl.
Oh, Kier wanted to
I
talk,
bet
Lotus.
She's not very popular with the boys.
Her sarcasm seemed a little more biting than was perhaps necessary, but she sighed and started after the younger girl.
Maybe pairing these two together was a mistake.
Yeah, tell me about it, effing Junpei. I can't believe Chad sent me with Lotus. Come on. After taking a moment to catch his breath, Junpei followed.
Oh, it's a dead end.
I'm sure at least somebody knew. The hallway made a number of turns before at last coming to a dead end.
There's a door in the wall.
Yeah, I'm sure Brendan knew. There's a door to the left, though. For a few minutes, they stood in front of the door, examining it. Above the door was a plate with the word laboratory engraved on it.
A laboratory? Huh.
Oh, that doesn't sound very pleasant. I don't like the look of this place.
Me either. But there aren't any other doors.
They voted for another door.
Other places.
Junpei,
Huh?
please, you first.
Junpei suspected her politeness was motivated by something other than respect.
Fine.
Junpei muttered to himself and pushed open the iron door. His first steps inside were tentative and careful, but as he examined the room, it became clear that there was no imminent danger. Lotus followed him in, and Clover brought up the rear. The room they found themselves in was divided into two separate areas by a curved wall. A thick glass window built into that wall made it possible to see into the other side of the division.
No, I think the window looks into another room.
Maybe it's for monitoring something.
Junpei walked to the window and looked through.
What the hell?
He wasn't sure what else to say. In the center of a room shaped like a quarter circle, a mannequin lamp looked like a medical exam table.
It looks so creepy.
Junpei jumped a little. He hadn't noticed Lotus come up next to
It's
him.
kind of like that doll is waiting for surgery.
This is a laboratory, right? I'd say it's more like it's waiting to be experimented on.
Ooh,
It's creepy either way. You don't think that thing's gonna suddenly sit up or something, do you?
well, I don't know. I mean, look at all those cables sticking out of it. If we press the wrong button, I don't know.
Stop it. Just thinking about it is terrifying.
He was gripping her arms, the knuckles on her hands white.
Wait, where's Clover?
She was still standing near the entrance of the room. Her face had the appearance of calm, but it was drawn and somewhat sad,
What is she-
somehow sad. There was something almost pitiful about her. Junpei walked over to her and, as kindly as he could,
Are you
spoke.
okay?
What are
Clover
you
looked
talking
away.
about?
What? I'm just worried about you. You've been real quiet.
What?
Somehow.
I can be quiet if I want to?
Well, I mean, of course you can. I just...
Okay then. If I can be quiet if I want, just leave me alone, okay?
Come on, you know I can't do that. We gotta work together.
Clover bit her lip and was silent for a
Junpei,
moment,
you
then
just
suddenly,
don't get it.
Her cry took Junpei by surprise, and he stumbled backward a few steps, alarmed.
My brother's not the kind of person who just leave me behind. Something happened to him. Something bad.
Yeah.
Junpei had nothing to say. Lotus, jolted from her mannequin nightmares by Clover's voice, turned toward them.
What happened?
Clover's eyes slid to Lotus, then back to Junpei.
Look, just don't bother me, okay? Leave me alone.
Finished, she turned around. Before Junpei or Lotus could say anything, Clover had begun to walk quickly away.
Wait, Clover, hold on. That way is.
I told you to leave me alone.
He might as well have been talking to a wall for all the notice she took of his cries. Not even slowing down, she made for a doorway cut in the wall in front of her. Without even slowing down, she passed through the doorway.
Watch out above you.
Bench! Without warning, an iron gate fell from the ceiling like a portcullis, sealing Clover in.
What the heck? What's going on here?
Clover grabbed hold of the iron bars and shook them as hard as she could.
Hang on. I'll get it open.
Oh, for crying out. You'll never do it on your own.
Junpei grabbed the bars and pulled. In a moment, Lotus joined him. The three of them pulled as hard as they could, but
Damn it! It's not moving.
Wait! Are you gonna give up? Just like that?
No, I'm not giving up. This has got to be another one of Zero's puzzles.
If it is, then there's gotta be a way to open it.
Just what I
Junpei
was
nodded.
thinking. Now all we gotta do is find it. Lotus and I can look around out here. Clover, you're gonna have to see if you can find anything in there.
Oh, yes, I'm on it.
ooh, seek a way out. I don't want Clover to die, dog. Meow. A silver handrail. Okay. Don't see anything here. That's some ethanol. Okay. Whole bunch of steel lockers. The 9 on the right all have little red lights on them. Red lights, huh? Well, I can't hurt to give these babies a try. Yep, just as I thought. Locked tight, all 9 of them. I wonder if there's anything important in there. These lockers are a little larger than the ones on top. Let's see if there's anything useful in here. And no, nothing. They're cardboard boxes. There's some papers and stuff in them. What's in the boxes? They look quite full. As far as I can tell, it's a bunch of notes about some kind of experiments, but it's all really technical and stuff. I don't really get it. Keyboard. The mouse. This is the computer. The power isn't on. Oh, there is a power button. This is a waste of time. What? I don't see a power cable. Oops. Yeah, you're right. No power cable. This thing isn't even connected to a main computer, though. It's got a monitor, keyboard, mouse, but that's it. Just sticking the power cable in isn't going to do anything. Oh, I don't know anything about that. Okay. This is a keyhole. This was like a keyhole for the activation key. I think this thing's supposed to power that machine in the other room. Well, it doesn't appear to be doing that. I wonder how we're supposed to turn it on. This is a really old type of keyboard. Okay. The power distribution board and the control panel, they're not working at the moment. There's a lot of stuff here. I don't know how we could use any of these. Well, I can say for sure that I do know how to use at least one of these things. Which one? The one on top. I think it's a power cable. A power cable, huh? I'll take that. Okay, so we could put that back in the computer, I guess, now. The one under the power cable needs to be connected to a monitor, and the other end needs to plug in under the desk. Alright, let's just slip you in. Huh? Well, shoot, I can't use this. What's wrong? This cable has 3 prongs, but the socket only has 2 holes. It's not going to fit, is what I'm saying. In other words, we're going to need a plug to change the power cable to one with 2 prongs. That's right. Some of them might be useful. There are 2 levers here. Do you think they activate something? Well, why don't you move one? I get that. Common issue. Alright, I'll give it a try. Nope. Doesn't look like anything's happened. Hands on the clock have stopped moving. The clock may stop, but time goes on. No time to screw around. We need to figure out a way out of here. I wonder what this cable's connected to. Okay, one side of this thing is in the room with us. The other side extends into the laboratory where Clover is. In other words, the console in front of us is connected to the device in the laboratory. Okay. Hey, Clover, there's a door over here too. Wait, I'll be right there. I can hear her over there. Is this door gonna... Damn it! I can't open it. Clover, what about your side? It won't work. I can't even move the knob. It worked, they're just not super loud. It looks like this door is the exit. The door on the right just goes to the laboratory. Nope, this door isn't going anywhere. No dice, it won't open. I mean, that's about as much as I expected. I don't think Zero would let us out of the room quite that easily. Junpei, do something, please! Let's see. We got ethanol. What can we use the ethanol for? Can't open these. And people that activate these put the right key in there. Like what? This is the control panel for an electronic door lock. There's a red light on the display that means it's locked. If we can't get that light to turn green, then maybe we can get Clover back. Or if we can get it to turn green. Okay. I don't know what kind of table this is, but part of it's all black. There's a pin lying over there. I think someone probably used it to make the table black. Well, if they only use the pin on one part of it, that's probably something underneath all that pin. Clover, do you think you can erase it? Yeah, sure. Oh, this is permanent marker. Junpei, do you know how to erase ink from a permanent marker? Erase ink from a permanent marker, huh? Give me just a minute, Clover. I'll be right back. Okay, I need to give her the ethanol. Clover, use this ethanol. You should be able to wipe off that permanent ink with it. What am I gonna wipe with? Oh, well, your clothes, of course. Haha, kidding. Just kidding. Please don't look at me like that. You're scaring me. Sheepy behavior. Clover, can you use the cloth on the table? Use, huh? Soak it in ethanol, then use it to wash off the stuff from the permanent marker, okay? Right, okay, so I gotta soak the cloth with ethanol. She's got the cloth, but she seems to be having a little trouble with the bottle of ethanol. When she's ready, I should ask her to get to work on that stuff on the table. Soak the cloth in ethanol, and... Junpei, it's working. It's wiping the permanent ink off. Huh? There's some kind of weird drawing under all the permanent ink. What's to do with that drawing Clover found? Maybe I should ask her to take another look at the table. Wonder what this is. There are a bunch of numbers and some kind of grid. I can't see it from here. Clover, you've got a pen and a notebook, right? Did you write those numbers down and then hand them to me through the bars? Okay, Roger. This is a bit interesting. Here, Junpei. I wrote down all the numbers from the desk on here. Paper with numbers on it acquired. New material has been added to the file screen. Okay. File screen. Clover's note. The note Clover copied from the stain in the library has 4 numbers written in 3 separate cells. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm assuming I have to open up the lockers in that order. Nothing else really relates to... has a row of 9. None of them are locked. Maybe it's this? No? What if I... Okay, I can't... It's not an item I can use, though. Is there something in here? Is this like an examination table? There's a creepy mannequin in here, guys. Hey, Clover, how are the power cables over there? Huh? What do you mean? Does the plug have 3 prongs or 2? I don't know what you're talking about. Let me go look. Guess you just have to kind of crouch down to get a look under there. The cable on the monitor has, it's got 2 of those little middle things. What does that mean? That's it. Okay, can you unplug that cable and bring it over here? Okay, but... Well, I can unplug it, but it's connected to the main computer. I can't take it over to you. Damn it, that's no good then. Well, how about just the plug? What? The plug? Well, maybe more like a, connector? It's a sort of thing that makes the plug with the 3 middle change thingies into a plug with 2 middle thingies. Still useless? Not useless, not useless at all. That's what we were looking for. Okay, can you hold on for a little bit? Back down she goes. Alright, unplugged. I'll hand it to you over at the bars, okay? Here you go, the 2-prong plug. Thanks. Cool, now I can combine these. Okay, put the 2-prong plug into the head of this power cable. 2-prong power cable. Yatta! Oops. For now, just have a look around. I'm definitely going to save you, but so just hang on a little bit longer. Okay, I'm counting on you. Okay. And one of us would have had to go in there, right? So I suppose she kind of was inevitably going to go in there. Pretty sure this will work. Under the desk I go, and let's just plug this thing into the monitor. Alright, that ought to do it. Alright, let's turn the power on. I don't think anything's going to happen. Why not? Well, it's not connected to the main computer. You never know until you try. Pretty optimistic. Okay, push the power button on the front of the monitor.
Oh, that worked.
With a soft hum, it turned on. Streams of letters that made no sense to Junpei began to scroll across the screen. Updating RSF files, making a directory, making BC 23.3 seconds, starting system.
Huh? It's running on its own?
I hoped that it would turn on, but he hadn't expected this.
It certainly looks like it.
Isn't that kinda weird?
What?
Well, it's not connected to the main computer, right?
Imagine some cross between the Riddler and Jigsaw Killer, so it's like a point-and-click adventure escape room instead of a would you rather pain or die, because they would think that intelligence and riddle solving is a sign of a worthy person. That's interesting. Might make for kind of a... I could make it for an interesting movie depending on like the puzzles they have to solve. What door did I go through first? I went through 5 first, I'm pretty sure. I went through the one where I had to go... I went with Snake and then 7.
There's just this keyboard and monitor. The only cable connected to this thing is the power cable we just plugged in. So, why is it working?
Maybe it's a wireless
Good question.
display.
Those don't exist. Clearly this was a reasonable explanation to Lotus.
A wireless display?
Yes, it connects to your computer wirelessly, hence the name. Have you been living in a cave, Junpei?
He most certainly had not,
Is
but...
that normal?
Yes, at least where I worked.
Huh?
What?
Oh, it stopped.
That's like definitely not a thing.
Pass with a colon.
Looks like we need to enter a password.
Again? There must be a hint around here somewhere.
Could you go take a look?
Yeah, I'm on it. What are you going to do?
I'll see if I can do something about this on my own.
On your own?
Yep, on my own.
Lotus?
Lotus pulled over the nearest chair and dropped herself down onto it in front of the keyboard. For a second, she stared at the screen. She kneaded her hands, knuckles popping, and twisted her back left then right.
All right. Let's kick some ass.
Jugs, dude. Holy shiz. Lotus smiled to herself and rubbed her hands together in anticipation. And before Junpei had time to blink, she was typing at an incredible speed, the click-clack of the keys running together like machine gun fire. What? She's like an effing hacker?
Wait, what?
Junpei was, for once, at a loss for
Didn't
words.
expect that, did you?
Of course I didn't! You're typing so fast, I can't even see your fingers. What kind of job do you have? What are you?
What are you? Yeah, for real, looking straight. That's like, Junpei, keyboard's down here, buddy. Switch player perspective? Oh, I'm so sorry. I should probably have that disabled.
I'm unemployed at the moment. I used to work for a cybersecurity firm, but I quit.
Why?
Huh? Oh,
Lotus blinked.
it was just something.
She stopped typing for a moment and her face
I
fell.
see.
This is not an avenue of questioning to be pursued, Junpei realized and quickly shut his mouth. Lotus's fingers began to move again, and in a few seconds she was back up to speed. As she typed, more letters and symbols that meant nothing to Junpei began to pour across the screen.
Oh, what are you doing now?
Is there like an inside joke in the chat right now that I'm not aware of? Thankful for no Toby tracker? What does that mean?
I'm going to try and brute force it.
Brute what?
A brute force attack is... Well, the short version is that I just attack the thing head on. The long version?
Okay. Okay, I'm giving the game the you know, it's a game, right? They probably don't know how this works. There is absolutely no world in existence where you would run a brute force attack on a limitless password manually. There is no world in which that would happen. Then looking up or slowing down, she began to explain.
A brute force attack is one of the simplest ways to break a cipher.
I mean, the most brutal way of breaking a
It
cipher.
checks every possible combination until it finds the right one. For a complex cipher, it can take a very long time. I'm writing a
That makes her
program
more
that can
impressive.
attack like that on its own.
Oh, she's writing a program. Okay. I thought they were going to say, they were going to say that she was doing it each one. Like each one, she's like A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K. All right, it's none of those. Let's do A, B. I'm like, there's no effing way, dude.
The most elegant solutions, certainly. But given the circumstances, there isn't much else I can do.
Okay, but how is she writing the program if it requires a password before you can do anything? Even as she talked, her fingers never slowed or missed a key. Junpei couldn't help but feel a little odd.
But back to what we were talking about earlier.
What were we talking about?
The wireless display. It's kind of strange if you think
It opened a
about this.
console? But it requires a password first before you can do anything. It's kind of strange if you think about it, isn't it?
How do I put it? Well, let's say you write a program that calculates an addition problem for you, all right? So you enter 1 + 1. The screen will show you 2. See? Isn't that strange?
The game doesn't want you to ask questions. It's like Mystery Computer that only uses a console and has no OS because it's spooky and mysterious. But if it's if it's asking you for a password, you need to enter the password first, unless you can exit out of the password, but then it wouldn't let you do anything to the system.
No, not really.
Oh, come on now. Of course a caveman like you would think it was strange. You said so just a minute ago.
Call me a caveman, brother?
You're just not getting it, are you? Who calculated 1 + 1?
The main computer, right? You said it connected to the monitor wirelessly.
Yeah, but someone who grew up in a cave wouldn't know that, right?
Dude, what the
They probably
fudge?
think that this thing here, the monitor, is doing the calculating. And once they've decided that, they'll start examining this monitor. They might poke the screen or something. Ah, I see the color changes when I press it here. Then they might investigate the hardware on the inside. Oh, I see. So this wire supplies the power. Eventually, they might even cut the wires. Ah, yes. Just as I expected. When this wire is cut, no results appear. Therefore, it must be this device which does the calculations.
Oh.
But the truth is that, just like you said, the computer is doing the calculating. But these cave people wouldn't know that.
Okay, genuinely, has anybody ever seen a wireless monitor before? I've never seen that in my life.
Because they have no idea that the monitor and the computer...
I'm sure they
are
exist, but like they would not work very well. The amount of data you have to transfer to display a wireless signal, like a seamless wireless signal, like it's a lot of data. Lotus continued to type. Junpei scratched his head.
So, what are you trying to say?
Nothing, really. It's just, I thought maybe. What if the relationship between human beings and our brains is like that?
Huh?
Well, let's say you stick a bunch of electrodes into parts of the brain. A scientist examining the signals they send out might say, interesting. So stimulating this part of the brain causes the person to see colors.
You have?
That must mean this neuron cluster controls that function. Okay, let's see what happens when I cut out this part. Ah, just what I thought. Cutting off this part causes that function to cease.
Why is it like lagging when it prints out the text here occasionally?
Therefore, human thought processes must occur in the human brain.
Oh yeah, there's like phone mirroring, but it has like pretty like it's not terrible latency, but like I wouldn't use it as a computer monitor, right?
See? Doesn't it sound the same? Maybe the brain is just an output device, like this monitor. Maybe our thought processes actually occur somewhere else, in a main body. We just don't know it. We never even think about it. Just like those cave people wouldn't know about wireless communications. We can't imagine that there's some unknown medium that transfers information into our brains, where we experience that information as thoughts.
I love just like the click-clack of keys. Junpei didn't say anything. Not so much because he had no retort. No, her argument just seemed silly. He was a little surprised to be hearing something like it from someone like her.
The brain is just an output device. Human thought actually occurs somewhere else.
That's just crazy talk.
Did Lotus really think that, he wondered? It was a little creepy, Junpei thought. It sounded altogether too much like a bizarre cultish religion.
Maybe that's the cause of Seven's amnesia.
He's like super focused on this monitor now. Like she like must have seen him looking at her boobs and be like, "Can you stop that?" Oblivious to Junpei's increasing discomfort, Lotus continued.
Memory is actually stored somewhere else, in some sort of main body somewhere. Maybe he hasn't forgotten anything at all. He's just having a difficult time accessing his memories.
This is like simulation kind of talk. We knew the sun burned, but we didn't know what the sun was or what radiation was. He beat a sweat down his forehead. Don't look, don't look, don't look.
I suppose that would explain aphasia and blind sight too. Perhaps they actually can't speak or see. The monitor just isn't functioning properly. I guess people with prosopagnosia could be suffering from the same thing.
Wait a minute. What?
He knew what aphasia was from watching medical dramas on TV, and blindsight was easy enough to guess, but he'd never heard the word prosopagnosia before.
What? You've never heard of prosopagnosia?
What? You've never heard of prosopagnosia? What are you, living in a cave, you caveman? Lotus spun around in her chair to look at him. Okay, also, I know that obviously I'm taking more time to read some of this stuff a little bit, but like, this is a long time to write a brute force program. Junpei just shrugged and shook his head.
No. What is it?
Well, put simply, it means a condition where the mind can't distinguish between human faces. In other words, my face would look the same as...
Oh, is that what that's called? I forgot that.
So they can't remember faces, which is how most people recognize each other. That means that people with prosopagnosia have trouble recognizing even people they're close to. Usually they can make do by associating people with other things. Their voices, their clothes, their hair.
Does that mean other people's faces look like blanks?
No, I don't think so. Well, you've seen monkeys, like in a zoo, right? To you and me, all the monkey faces look the same, even though they've obviously got faces. It's almost impossible for a human to distinguish between them. The zoo staff that works with them would learn to identify different monkeys eventually. But you or I couldn't, unless one had a scar or something else to set it apart. Well, that's how people would be to someone with prosopagnosia.
The entire conversation is in the span of 5 seconds. Anime timescale. Maybe.
Prosopagnosia. Huh. I didn't even know that kind of thing existed.
Junpei did his best to act as though the entire lecture hadn't gone entirely over his head.
And, what were we talking about?
The idea that your brain is just an output device, like a monitor.
Are you serious about that stuff?
Not really. I was just kidding for about half of it.
What about the
Bruh.
other half?
Well, I guess I was just adulting.
Anyone else adulting out here?
Not funny.
Lotus's smile had something rather masochistic to it.
It's nothing more than a story I made up out of boredom. Don't take it seriously.
Hashtag adulting. Anyone else ever get like locked up in a Titanic replica by some like crazy guy? I mean, just adulting things. It was the first thing that came to mind when I just talked about it to kill time.
Looks like I don't need to talk anymore.
Why?
Not about to kill
Adulterers, where
time
you at?
any longer.
As she spoke, Lotus raised her right arm high and brought it down on the enter key.
Oh, then you finished that brute whatever thing?
I certainly did. And let's see what we got.
Chunks of text flickered on and off in quick succession, and then a line of numbers appeared, blinked, and disappeared. The screen cleared, and all that was left was the word accepted.
Piece of cake.
That was incredibly fast. This must have been a terrible password, dude. Lotus would clearly have patted herself on the back if it would not have made her look entirely ridiculous. After a few seconds, the accepted disappeared to be replaced with... Aha! 9 squares arranged in a 3x3 square.
Changed again. What the hell is that?
No idea. Looks like a puzzle.
Suddenly, Lotus stood up.
Huh? Aren't you gonna, I don't know, do more computer stuff?
I hate it when I'm on a replica Lusitania that's getting hit by U-boats. Classic, dude. I hate that. Probably all planned out by Zero, but can you imagine if she wasn't here? Yeah, like they would have been screwed.
No, I can't do anymore. It won't let me do any more programming. See? The keyboard. Nothing. So, there's nothing more I can do. Well, I guess I'll leave this to you then, Junpei.
Okay, but like she's such a useless dick throughout all of this for the most part. But she's a developer. Like she should be great at solving these kinds of puzzles. But she's just leaving it to other people to do.
What?
Let me take a break, all right? I did my part.
Well...
I wasn't sure what to say to that. She certainly had done her part. In fact, without Lotus, they probably would have run completely aground. I shouldn't rely on other people so much, Junpei thought to himself.
You're right. Thanks, Lotus.
No problem. And make sure you know when you should thank people.
Now, I better take care of this.
Dude, that's such a
myself.
Sasuke
No more
line.
relying on anyone else.
that's like one of the most Sasuke lines I've ever seen in my entire life. No problem. Make sure you know when you should thank people. That's so Sasuke core. Junpei crossed his arms and stared at the puzzle shown on the screen. Oh shoot, I don't have the puzzle on me. Well, let me look at this. When I press one of the panels, the colors on the ones next to it switch. Oh, looks like there's some text here. All panels green equals unlock. Restriction, no more than 4 attempts will automatically reset after failure. In other words, you have to get all the panels green in less than 4 tries. Identifying a Fortnite mechanic. I've watched Naruto, but that sentence was wild and weird in its wording and intentions. They would hate each other, and by hate each other, they would love each other. Oh, sorry, yeah, no, Sasuke, not Sasuke. I was like, what do you mean? How did Naruto come up? 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, shoot. Bitashi's a developer. She should be great at these puzzles. I think I have been pretty great at these puzzles. Hold on, let me... Oops. Why can't I look at the... Okay. Not to toot my own horn or anything. Let me take a picture of this. Off. 1, 2, 3, 4. Beck. Beck. I'm assuming this is how you're supposed to do it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, nice. All right, I solved it. Did you hear a noise just now? Yeah, I did. It sounded like something unlocking. Where did it come from? Cheetor. I mean, I guess you could have brute forced that if you didn't have the solution from Clover. Something unlocked. Oh, these. Look, Junpei, the lights on the lockers are green. Then we must have unlocked it with the computer puzzle. What's in here? Ooh, a key. There's more than one key in here. This one is small. Looks like it goes to some sort of machine. And this one has the Earth symbol on it. I think the Earth symbol matches a keyhole and a door on the A deck. Well, if that's the case, we probably don't need the Earth key right now. Alright then, Earth key. I'll just tuck you away deep in my pocket. Now as for the other key. I'll tuck you away deep in my dick. It was at that moment that he heard a voice behind him. It was Clover.
Hey, Junpei, do you have a minute?
He put the puzzle aside for the moment and walked over to Clover.
What's up?
I wanted to ask you something.
Hmm?
Junpei, you went into door 5 with my brother, right? Did you hear him say, like, anything weird?
Huh?
Did I? Why is she asking me this? Junpei wondered. The more he thought about it, however, the more it made sense. Snake had been gone for a long time. Clover was quite attached to her brother. Of course she would have been worried about him.
Well, let me think.
He thought back to when he'd gone through door 5, hoping he might remember something, even a small something that would help her. However,
Sorry, Clover. I can't really think of anything. I mean, he did mention that his hearing exceeds that of a regular person. Something like that, but that's about it.
Okay.
Clover's words were barely audible. She nodded vaguely to Junpei and turned to walk
Hey,
away.
Wait a minute.
Hmm?
Look, I don't know if I should ask you things, but if you don't mind, I was hoping you could tell me if, is Snake, was he born?
You're talking about his eyes?
Yeah.
No, he wasn't born blind. When he was a kid, he got in an accident. A really
Oh,
bad
bruh.
car accident. He couldn't see after that. And his arm.
His arm?
What happened to his eyes in the car accident? Did the glass shatter into them?
Yeah. My brother's left arm is, it's not like a normal person's arm. It's fake. It's not a real arm. The accident hurt him really bad. To save him, they had to cut off his arm.
Oh, bruh.
Is that all you wanted to ask me?
Talking about her brother had clearly taken a great deal out of Clover. Junpei nodded.
I'm sorry for making you talk about all that painful stuff.
It's not that.
Clover only shook her head and walked off down the stairs. Arm count 12? I'm sorry. This key. The shape sure makes it seem like it goes in this machine. Alright, I'm turning it on. Okay, the monitor's on now and it's full of letters. It's showing some kind of warning. Power restored to experimental device. Emergency system will activate in the event of abnormal subject behavior. Okay. Typing on this keyboard isn't doing squat. There's something sticking out of the mannequin's head, like wires or something. What the hell were they doing in there? Huh? Why is she all quiet now? They were doing experiments on humans. Probably. Oh man, now she looks sad. This is the monitor. There are a whole lot of cables under this table. Junpei, this thing in here is on now. Yeah, that's because we activated the power over on this side. Could you, like, play with it a little? Okay. Yeah. I'll turn this dial here. Turn, turn, turn. I don't think it's working. Nothing happened. Well, maybe she missed something. I should ask her to look around the room again. It's a rack. There are a bunch of cables on it. Somebody cut the outer stuff on the cables. I can see the wires inside. I've got the scribblings from the table already. I wonder what they washed here. There are these weird colored stains all over the sink. There's a mannequin laying on the exam table. Looks like there are a bunch of wire electrodes sticking out of its head. Those are the stairs I just came down. The bars and the gate are just above me. Guess the drain is for water, huh? Oh, there's nothing here. Let's see. Maybe if you increase the voltage? Roger, will do. Okay, I'm gonna go all the way to max voltage. The max voltage? Hey! Wait, Clover! Oh, shit. What? I think, My brother! Oh my god! To the mannequin's head! Oh man, that sounded like a fire alarm. God, what the hell? Fire detected. Fire detected. The emergency system will be activated. Evacuate the room immediately. Nice, she was able to get out though. The green light is on. Junpei, look at the light. Yes, it's green. The emergency system is activated to disable the lock. Now we can save Clover. Junpei, come on kid, jump. She's safe. Oh man, that smoke is some serious business. Time to close this door again, I think. Wait, who was talking? Was it Clover? Was it me? I'm sorry, I'm confused. Clover, are you okay? Are you hurt? Damn, she's coughing so hard she can't even talk. Of course I'm not alright. What the hell took you so long, you big jerk? I was almost dead. Sorry, I was going as fast as I could. We can do this later. Right now we need to get the hell out of here. That fire's not going to stay in that room forever. We found a way out. Atomic bomb versus coughing Clover. Fight! Junpei, Clover, and Lotus leapt out of the laboratory, slamming the door shut behind them.
Whew, thank God we got out of there.
Yeah, finally.
Oh, yeah.
All three collapsed against the wall, breathing heavily. Junpei's heart was pounding in his chest, and his whole body felt weak. He inhaled gulps of clean air, and with each one, he could feel his body begin to calm down.
All right, let's go.
Okay.
They nodded to each other and started off down the hallway. Is Snake dead, though? Is Snake actually dead, though? Before long, they found a few new doors, but all of them were locked.
Damn, none of these open. They're all locked.
How about that one?
And don't actually tell me, but like, is he dead? I mean, that's so sad if he is. The final door sat in a corner of the hallway.
Let's hope this is the door with the prize.
Junpei grabbed the door handle and was about to pull it open when a voice cried out behind him. It was neither Clover nor Lotus, but he recognized it. There was no doubt the voice belonged to...
Jumpy!
Huh?
Huh? I love when I have the same reaction as the characters. He spun around. There at the other end of the hall, Junpei saw human figures running towards him. 3 of them.
June? Santa! 7!
They stopped short in front of Junpei and his companions, gasping for air.
Hey, what are you guys doing here?
What? But we didn't...
Before he could finish, Clover
Hey,
spoke.
guys, could you come take a look at this?
As someone who's never played this game before, he did. He was standing near the end of a small hallway that branched off to the right. The rest of them ran over to her, curious as to what she'd found.
On the wall.
A map of the ship's interior?
It says C deck.
So it's the map for this floor then?
Door 7. And... Door 8. Yep, they both eventually end up at this hallway.
9 doors, 9 people, 9 viewers, 9 hours. Okay, that's fine. If we get any more than 9 viewers, we die instantly, all of us.
We aren't going to be split up permanently till we find door 9.
Oops.
We might get separated for a little while, but we'll see each other again. Otherwise, we won't be able to open door 9. That's how the nonary game works.
Junpei looked at the map of the ship's interior again.
Wait a sec. This leads to...
As he looked more closely, surprise and excitement gave way to weariness.
Oh,
You've got to be kidding me.
One by one, the others saw what he'd seen.
We may as well go.
yeah.
As one, they all moved back toward the door. Junpei had only a moment ago been ready to open.
Oh, almost forgot. We should keep this.
Pulled the map of the ship's interior off of the wall, put it in his pocket, and followed the others. The 6 of them stood in front of the door, arrayed in a semicircle. Santa stepped forward. He took hold of the door and spoke without looking back at the other 5.
Ready? I'm gonna open it.
They nodded their silent assent. The deep breath Santa threw open the door. Guys, quick, find the root of the viewer count or whatever. They poured through the doorway and ran into the room. Okay, who was what number, though? Even without looking around, each one of them knew where they were.
I knew it.
They were just where the map had said they would be.
Back.
Oh!
In the hospital room.
You're 6?
See. I believe I understand what you're saying. The 6 of you split into 2 teams and went through doors 7 and 8. You solved the puzzles in the operating room and the laboratory.
Interesting.
And then met one another in the hallway after opening your respective locked doors.
You guys are too young to be in this stream. So I'm gonna get canceled again. It looked like anyone might, but after only just waking up, but it seemed that his brain was working as well as ever. He had managed to grasp, summarize, and understand each team's report.
At any rate, I feel a bit silly for my little show of altruism. I know I said I was sure you'd come back for me. I didn't think it would happen so soon, though.
Ace shook his head with a rueful smile.
Well, we saw each other again and we ain't dead, so I say that's good enough.
No, please don't. This is my only, my one thing, please.
Anyway, I
Seven
say we
smiled.
get out of this creepy old place. We found the key we need.
The key?
Ain't that what I just said? I'm talking about the Jupiter key. We found it in the operating room. Here.
The man tossed something small and metallic toward Junpei.
Whoa.
Nice catch.
Jeez.
I don't think so. Not yet, at the very least. He caught it and found that the object was a key.
I see. So this is Jupiter.
We got Jupiter or the other one. Saturn? On it, someone engraved a symbol very similar to a 4. He looked over at June, who nodded back. It had to be the Jupiter symbol.
I'm gonna let you hold on to that, alright?
Yeah, on it.
Well, I've got something for you too then. Here, it's the Saturn key card. We found it in the kitchen. I might lose it. It's probably better if you hold on to it. That way it won't be my fault if it gets lost.
Yeah, on it.
Bruh. And with that, she pressed it into Junpei's hand. He felt slightly less than honored.
So how many unused keys do we have now?
There's the Earth key.
You got the
from
Earth key.
Laboratory. The Jupiter key you just gave me. And the Saturn key card from Lotus. I'll keep them safe.
Okay. Junpei tucked the new keys into his pocket. June spoke up.
The Jupiter key is supposed to be for the door at the end of that long, straight hallway, right?
Yeah. If the map's right, then it connects to the central staircase. Then, next to the stairs...
Wait!
Would be the first words anyone had heard out of Clover in quite some time. Her face suggested they weren't going to be very happy words.
What about door 3?
Look, you saw the map, right? It's the same as 7 and 8. Just lead us back to the big hospital room. There's no point to seeing what's on the other side of that door.
There is a point. At least there is for me.
There were tears in her eyes, but she glared at 7 as hard as she could, just the same. She looked very much like a frightened puppy. There wasn't a man alive who could have resisted those eyes. 7 looked everywhere in the room except at Clover and muttered and coughed apologies under his breath.
Yeah, you're right, I'm sorry. Snake might be on the other side of door 3.
Clover nodded once. The next person to speak was Ace.
Very well. I'll be coming with you then. I've had a nice long rest. I think it's time I was up and about again. So 7, you'll help me, won't you?
Huh? Me? Junpei did the calculations quickly in his head. 4 plus 1 plus 7 to 12, 1 plus 2 plus equals 3. It looked like 7 was doing them too. At last, he gave up.
Well, I guess that's how it's gotta be. So I'm going with you, huh?
Yes, you are.
Alright.
Alright, let's get moving. Okay, this isn't actually Endeavor's voice actor, right? It does sound very similar to Endeavor. And so it was decided that Clover, Ace, and 7 would discover what lay beyond door 3.
Okay, we're heading out.
Be careful.
Whoa. Didn't think I'd be hearing that from you, Lotus.
Don't let it go to your head. I'd be in trouble if the 3 of you bought it. The rest of us can't. One.
Once again, a very Sasuke statement to make.
Ah, the truth comes out.
7 nodded as if this answer made much more sense and pulled the lever on the red. Come on, find him, find him, find him.
Okay, we're off.
He truly completes me. The door opened and Ace, Clover, and 7 jumped through it. Why do they always have to jump through the doors? Why can't they just walk like normal human beings?
All right, we should get moving too.
Huh?
Get moving.
Where are we going?
Everyone except Lotus seemed rather
Well, it would be
confused.
a waste of time to just sit around, wouldn't it?
I mean, I actually agree with her in this case.
Let me explain.
Oh, I get
They're in a
it.
rush to not
We're
explode.
gonna see if we can get anywhere interesting with the Jupiter key.
Yes. If we're lucky, we might find Snake.
Yeah, for once I actually agree with Lotus. They were at the end of the hallway lined by individual hospital rooms.
And here's the Jupiter symbol on the keyhole.
All right, Junpei, open it if you please.
Yeah, on it.
Junpei pulled the Jupiter key out of his pocket and slid it into the keyhole. He twisted. With a nice sharp click, he felt the door unlock. Junpei sucked in a breath, held it, and opened the door as quietly as he could. Wouldn't want to wake up Zero. Inside was exactly what he expected to see from the map of the ship's interior. They were in a tremendous hall, almost like a ballroom, with a massive central staircase.
Great, back to the beginning. You sure this is a good idea?
What do you mean?
Well, we already searched every inch of this room, didn't we? I'm asking you if there's any reason we came back here.
Of course there's a
Of course
reason.
there's a reason. Man, sometimes I can't tell if you're smart or just lucky.
Huh?
This.
Junpei pulled two things out of his pockets.
The Saturn key card. And the Earth key? I'm lost.
Santa cocked his head to one side like an inquisitive bird and looked at them. After several long moments during which it became apparent that Santa had no idea what the cards meant, June took pity on him.
Don't you remember, Santa? On C deck, where we are now, there was a big elevator behind the stairs, remember? And next to the elevator, there was a card reader with the Saturn symbol on it.
Probably don't
And
want to
on
use
A
the
deck,
elevator
on the
until they
door
get
to the
back.
left, there was a keyhole with the Earth symbol on it.
Think.
So the two keys that Jumpy has?
Should let us use the elevator and the door on A deck.
Probably don't use the elevator though.
Yes, that's right.
June smiled, pleased with herself. So did Santa.
All right, I got it. Let's get started then. What do you say we split into two teams? Lotus
No.
and I will search the Earth one, so you two can search Saturn, all right?
Why would you guys use the elevator? It's obviously going to get stuck.
Sounds good. Then you guys should take this key.
Junpei handed the Earth key to Santa. Right now? Use it right now, you said? They decided that their initial search should be brief.
We have no idea what's on the other side of these. So don't go too far. Just search for 10 minutes and come back.
Okay, but you can't control the elevator, guys. They decided the two teams split it up. Split it up? That's not the right verb. Junpei and June headed for the
There's
elevators.
a card reader next to the left elevator.
Then let's try out the Saturn key card.
A light on the upper left corner blinked to
Great.
life.
It looks like it's working now.
All right. Now, how do I call the elevator?
There was a single button at the right side of the elevator door.
Oh, it only has the upside down triangle on it.
I guess there's no up button. Well, we may as well try pushing this one.
The door slid shut and they heard the grinding of the motor as the elevator car moved down.
It opened. Look, Jumpy.
June's voice was excited, but Junpei could hear a tinge of anxiety.
Sweet! It opened. Let's get going.
Elevator, seek a way out. He grinned at June and stepped toward the open door. June, do you think there's any cameras in here? As he was about to start foot in it, he felt a hand on his arm.
Wait.
What?
I'm not really, I just, oh gosh.
Junpei was at something of a loss. What could she possibly be so frightened of? June was probably afraid of... He was afraid because the only elevator button pointed down. That meant, of course, the elevator couldn't go any higher than the floor they were on. As he thought about it, Junpei realized he hadn't seen elevators on the A or B decks near the central staircase. All of which meant that the elevator could only convey them to the lower decks.
Come to think of it, the lower floor, D deck, is completely underwater. An elevator heading to a submerged floor. That is pretty scary. Hey, wait a minute. This elevator came up from somewhere under us, right?
Well, yes, I guess it did. It didn't open right away after you pressed the button. There was a motor noise like it was moving, and then it opened.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
So, take a look inside.
Junpei jerked his head toward the interior of the elevator.
It's not wet at all, is it? The walls and even the floor are totally dry.
Maybe the motor sound was running a effing sump pump to get the water out, dog.
Right.
But it would still be a little bit wet. He looked around the elevator, slightly embarrassed.
Let's test it.
existed.
This is my like D&D player like energy right now. Like, oh, but think about it though. There could be water somewhere underneath, and they just got pumped out.
Yeah, watch this. Now, I'll just put one foot inside the elevator and look over at the buttons. Oh, there's only two, E and C. All right. I'll
E
push
and C. And jumped out of the elevator. Door slid shut, and they heard the grinding of the motor as the elevator car moved down. Okay. This is a smart way to test it. Did you see A deck, B deck? So there, it seems that there were at some point elevators.
Okay, that's done. Now I'll just press the button again.
A few moments later, the elevator returned.
Yep, not a single drop of water to be seen. See?
Junpei couldn't resist puffing at his chest, just a little bit. June, however, still looked
What does
confused.
that mean? How can E deck be safe if the D deck is full of water?
Has to be isolated
Well,
somehow.
here's what I think. The elevator shaft and E deck must be watertight and separated from wherever the ship's been punctured. Here, let me show you.
He pulled out his notebook and pen and sketched out a rough illustration.
I see. The ship hasn't sunk?
Junpei, in what world is this at all helpful? This literally means nothing. First off, the C deck and E deck are connected. There's literally nothing disconnecting the two of these systems. How does this help at all, Junpei?
The shape of the inside keeps it all from filling with water?
Yeah, I think that's what's going on.
Junpei continued talking as he closed the notebook and slipped it back into his pocket.
So I'm gonna go down and check it out. You stay here, all right? Come on, just do it, all right?
Better go with you, dog. He gave June's shoulder a reassuring squeeze and hopped into the elevator. He did draw straight lines, though. It's true. Quite the artiste. He pushed the E button, and the door began to close. June looked worried, her eyes darting back and forth as if she was trying to make a decision, when suddenly...
I'm coming with you.
Yeah, let's go.
Huh?
I like June. At the last possible moment, June dashed forward, turning sideways just in time to slip through the gap between the closing doors.
Wait!
Junpei jammed his finger against the open button, but it was too late.
Oh, crap. It closed.
The door had shut. He and June were in the elevator and was headed down to E deck. Although, to be fair, having her stay up there probably would have been smart, because if they don't know that they can reactivate going back up, so she could have at least called the elevator back up. But I get not wanting to be separated after what happened to Snake Eyes.
I can't just let you go alone, you know.
Did I read this? He was so surprised by June that he didn't even have time to think about what awaited him on the E deck.
Ah, jeez.
Ah, jeez. Effing women, you know? The elevator stopped and the doors slid open. Well, that's why he's called Snake. You know, Snake Eyes. They tentatively stepped out and looked around.
It looks normal.
No fish going about their fishy business or jellyfish floating lazily through the water. There was, however, a blowfish, or at least something that looked very much like one. June's cheeks were puffed out and her mouth a tiny, intense frown.
Oh, knock it off. It's just like I thought. This part hasn't flooded. Come on, just look around. There's no water here.
June looked around nervously, then
You're
exhaled.
right. It's not flooded at all.
See?
But there's a whole lot of water.
Yeah, right on top of us.
Oh,
What's
that's
gonna happen if the
disconcerting.
ceiling breaks?
Junpei thought about that for a moment.
Probably die.
Oh, no. Don't be so casual about something like that.
Bruh.
At any rate, we should probably go back as soon as we can, once we're done looking around down here. Lotus and Santa might already be back.
Okay, good idea.
Now then.
Junpei glanced around the room they'd found themselves in. The first thing he noticed was a set of thick iron bars. They ran the length of the room, separating the left elevator from the right one.
Bars. Well, we can't go over there.
Right.
Then maybe.
In the corner of the room that housed the elevators, Junpei found an opening. He walked up to it and stuck his head around the corner.
It looks like there's a long straight hallway down this way.
Something's written on the door at the end. Wait, is that?
Let's check.
Junpei and June set off down the hallway at a brisk clip, somewhere between a run and a jog. Before they found themselves in front of the door. On it was a number written in bright red paint. 6.
I knew it!
This is a numbered door.
And indeed, there was a red bolted to the wall right next to the door.
But we can't do anything with only the two of us.
We better head back and let everyone know.
Yes.
Junpei and June turned and headed back to C deck.
Wait, what's this?
On their way back, Junpei noticed a map on the wall.
Is this the map for E-Deck? I should take it with me.
The Snake Eyes.
So you guys found door 1.
They met back up with Santa and Lotus, who had explained what they'd found. Apparently, there was another numbered door on A deck, just like the one on E deck, beyond the door that the Earth Key opened. According to Santa and Lotus, there was a 1 on the door.
So now we've located 2 new doors. The 6 door and the 1 door.
You know, it is interesting that E-Deck wasn't flooded.
Lotus was quiet for a moment, lost in thought.
We don't really know if all of E-Deck is safe. We only checked the area around the elevator.
Even so, it's still very interesting.
You said the 6th door was there, right?
Yes.
Then that means Zero planned all this out. Even the sinking. That would have meant some pretty serious remodeling of the ship's interior.
It's pretty mind-blowing when you think about it.
Yeah. I wonder how long it took. I can't even imagine how much it must have cost.
It would have been a ton, that's for sure.
Yeah, this guy's definitely some, like, rich prick.
Well, that does go along with what Ace was saying. The most reasonable explanation would be that this was done by some organization with access to a whole lot of cash.
Yes, it does make sense.
That thought made them all go quiet for a moment. June bit her lip while Lotus sighed softly to herself, and Santa cracked a stiff neck and stared off into the distance at nothing. Classic, dude.
Yeah?
I don't think it's a very good idea to stay here.
June looked up at Junpei with large, pleading eyes.
You're right. Ace and his team might be back already.
Well, Junpei and I should be able to open door 1.
Huh? You guys leaving me behind?
8 plus 6 plus 5 equals 19. The 1.
Just kid? All right, let's go.
Lotus's words were all the impetus they needed. Back to the large hospital room they went. Find a way out. The moment they stepped inside, a tremendous voice echoed across the room.
Hey! Where the hell did you guys go?
It was 7.
7?
Ace was right behind him, and Clover was behind Ace, although she seemed to be hanging back.
What's wrong?
It looked as though there was something strange about them. 7 had the look of a man who'd seen a ghost. Ace was just as pale, and Clover looked as though she was only moments from passing out entirely. For a long moment, they simply stood there, looking at one another. Junpei looked around nervously, waiting for someone else to speak. No one did. He looked at 7.
What happened?
What the hell kind of question is that?
Sorry, I had the mic muted. 7 was trying very hard to be angry, but something had shaken him hard. Did he blow himself up? His shoulders were trembling and his voice was strained.
Snake is...
7 couldn't finish. He just looked away, his face twisted by... Junpei wasn't sure what. Instead, Ace spoke. He took a deep breath, closed his eyes, and spoke.
Snake is... dead. He died. Just as the...
What? Why?
Did.
It was as if all the air had suddenly been sucked out of the room. Junpei felt his heartbeat quicken, and he realized he was having trouble breathing. He could feel cold sweat beading on his forehead and neck. June, Santa, and Lotus looked the way he felt. All 3 were frozen in place, their faces white.
That's not true, is it?
We should make sure.
Yeah, right.
We should... They nodded to one another, and he headed for the number 3 door.
Wait, not that way.
What? Why not?
They stopped short and turned to look at 7. He was pointing at the door with no number.
I stuck a
What?
screwdriver in there to keep the door from closing all the way. It's not locked, so you can go in that way.
Where is he?
The shower room. The left side of the hallway. I put a broom in there too to keep the door open.
Means we can get in without going through the numbered door, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Then let's go.
Their new destination clear, Junpei and his companions headed for the door with no number. Why did he do that? Once in the hallway, it was easy to spot the middle door on the left
This was
wall.
open when we passed here before.
But now, just as Seven had said, there was a broom stuck between the door and the frame, keeping it open.
Well, let's keep going.
That's music. They looked at it for a moment, then stepped inside.
Oh, it smells horrible.
Lotus wrinkled her nose and covered her mouth in disgust. Even Santa pinched his nose shut.
Yeah, this is pretty awful. I feel like I'm gonna puke.
Just as bad as they said, perhaps worse. A hideous smell filled the air, so thick they could almost taste it. It was sour and smelled of fish, feces, and burnt meat. It worked its way through Junpei's nose and down his throat to pound against the entrance to his stomach.
Ooh.
He put his hands over his mouth and struggled to keep what little was in his stomach where it belonged.
Where is he? Where's Snake?
They didn't have to wonder where the body was.
There.
There was blood everywhere, a few arms with a splatter reaching toward them as they walked through the door. All one had to do was follow the many radial arms to their source. The body itself was hidden behind the divider.
You should stay here.
But
Please, just do me a favor, okay? All right?
He didn't give her a chance to say no. He put his hand on her shoulder as if to shove her into the ground like a tent pole, turned and walked toward the end of the divider.
I'm going in.
It felt like it took an eternity for him to get there. Santa and Lotus followed, timid and nervous as a pair of children. Eventually they reached the divider. They looked at one another and nodded, slowly. Junpei put his hand on the divider and peered around the corner. For a moment, he forgot to breathe. He felt his heart collapse in his chest like an empty cigarette carton, and time froze. He knew in that instant that he would take the image before him to the grave. What was left of the body sat in a sea of blood. Chunks of flesh torn from the body sat in the blood like tiny islands in a great red sea. A vast, ragged hole had been torn in the torso, and what remained of his intestines spilled out of it like fresh spaghetti. Smaller chunks of meat had splattered against the wall and became stuck there as they dried. Globules of yellowish fat had left trails like tiny slugs as gravity pulled them down the wall, even as they dried to it.
Just like Ace said.
Santa's voice was strained. Junpei suspected he was holding down some vomit of his own.
Just like the ninth man.
A vile, dude.
Detonator in his bracelet set off the bomb in his gut.
It looked as though the explosion had been quite powerful.
The bone is coming out of his left arm.
It's definitely an open fracture.
His legs were both bent in an odd, unnatural way, and his left arm had split open, exposing the painfully white bone of his ulna. His bracelet lay next to him. It seemed to have hit the wall hard enough to have just shattered the display, which lay on the ground in pieces.
The face. It's horrible.
Yeah, you can't even tell who it is.
Half of his head had simply collapsed. The blood coating almost made it look like raw pizza dough covered in tomato sauce. His clothes, too, were covered in blood. The burgundy tie, the white shirt, the jacket with the yellow piping, and the gray slacks. You can't even tell who it is, huh?
But the clothes are...
They were all familiar to Junpei.
No mistake about it. It's Snake.
Lotus's voice was unnaturally deep and strained, and Junpei had heard it catch in her throat. Okay, but does he have the prosthetic arm? They didn't check for it. The squeal of tortured metal made Junpei's teeth curl. It sounded like the noise of a ghost would make. No matter how many times he heard it, he never got used to it. Every time it put him on edge. It didn't help that there was a girl nearby who looked far more like a ghost than a living human should. It was Clover. She sat on the edge of the bed, her head drooping listlessly under her chest. Her eyes were blank and stared across the room at nothing. Her breathing was slow and mechanical. Aside from the rise and fall of her chest, she didn't move. Junpei felt as if even a nudge might cause her to shatter into 1,000 pieces.
Snake was probably murdered. Chances are he was killed the same way the ninth man was.
Seven lowered his voice, likely in an effort to keep Clover from hearing what he had to say. There were 4 other people in the room with Junpei and Seven. Ace, Santa, June, and Lotus. 7 looked at each of them in turn and continued.
It's pretty straightforward. Not that hard to figure out how they did it. First, the killers got Snake to authenticate on the red to open door 3. Then they shoved him into it, alone, and waited 9 seconds for the door to shut. Once that door shut, it was all over for Snake. But he didn't give up. He probably knew it wouldn't do him any good, but he probably ran into the shower room looking for the dead. It was a small chance, but it wasn't like he had anything to lose. Unfortunately, it didn't work. The detonator is only deactivated if everybody who authenticated when they went in uses the dead. Snake was the only one who went through the door. And then, 81 seconds after he was shoved in, that happened.
I see. So that's what you meant by killers, huh? You need at least 3 people to open one of the numbered doors, including Snake. It wouldn't open for Snake and a single killer.
Yeah. That means we're looking at multiple perps here.
Junpei crossed his arms and grunted.
Well, just in case, I want to make sure. Let's say you're right. When do you think Snake was killed?
When we all split up to look for the parts for the Reds, I think. Right after that was when we noticed he was gone.
Then that means none of us have alibis. We were all off searching the rooms we'd been assigned, looking for those parts.
Yeah. That means anybody could be a killer.
Wait a minute. What are you talking about?
We know June's safe, obviously. June seems shocked.
Can you say that so casually? You're implying that one of us is a killer.
Well, not just one of us. If I'm right, then at least 2 of us are murderers.
Why don't you calm down a bit, 7? What are you going to gain by being so suspicious? That's what Zero wants, you know?
What Zero wants?
Or it could have been like anybody as a part of this system. It doesn't have to be one of us.
Exactly. This game was set up by Zero, wasn't it? Any game has a winner and loser. Whoever makes it through door 9 is a winner, and those who don't are the losers. Zero is trying to make us fight against one another for that victory.
Then you're saying that Zero is trying to split us up by making us fight each other?
I'm trying to think of like what would be a good spot to stop. I want to get past this like lore and get to the next door option maybe, but
That is why
I'm not sure
we
how it's
can't
gonna
let
take.
ourselves fall prey to suspicion. We have to trust one another and form a strong bond of friendship. Otherwise, we'll end up ensnared by Zero's manipulations.
Then does that mean that the person
The credits?
Snake
Yes, almost certainly Zero himself.
Yeah, I agree with you, Ace. I fully agree with you.
If there's anyone we should doubt, it should be Zero. He masterminded this game and kidnapped all of us. Doesn't it seem reasonable that he would have killed Snake as well?
Good question.
I hadn't really considered
If
that.
Zero killed Snake, then Zero is on the ship with us.
I feel fairly confident about that. Of course he was. That was obvious. Zero was somewhere on the ship, but Junpei had no idea where. Junpei mumbled to himself, lost in thought.
Where could Zero be hiding?
Suddenly, everybody went very quiet. The silence was cold and clammy, and Junpei could feel it crawling across his back and around his throat. Again, he heard the ghosting, moaning and noise. And moments later, a person who looked more ghost than human appeared. It was Clover. She looked at the floor as she spoke, and her voice was a cold monotone.
I think Zero is one of us.
Interesting theory. Every human body in the room froze. The only sound was the muffled rustling of breath. Eyes darted from face to face. One of those faces was the face of their jailer. But who? Was he one of them? I mean, it's possible. Clover, you're crazy. I mean, 7 is big enough to be able to have taken... Well, he didn't have to take us out directly.
That's crazy. Isn't the ship going to sink in a few hours? If Zero was here with us, he'd be putting himself in danger. Why the hell would he do something like that? There's no motive.
Clover looked up at Junpei and her face fell.
Don't believe me.
Her eyes were so pitiful. The moment Junpei's met with him, he felt his heart tighten. He didn't think what he said was wrong, but perhaps the way he said it had been. He'd been too insensitive. Clover had just lost her brother. His death would have been bad enough, but she'd also seen the blasted wreck of his body. Junpei barely knew him, and the sight had been enough to make him sick. What Clover had felt, he didn't even begin to imagine. In the mental state she must have been in, it was understandable that she would look at those around her with suspicion. She felt everyone was against her. The least Junpei could have done was try to understand what she was feeling. He felt ashamed of what he'd said. Perhaps he thought I should apologize. But before that apology could begin...
Clover, I understand what you're feeling. You don't feel that you can trust any of us.
Ace had beaten Junpei to the punch. As he spoke to Clover, his face was calm and friendly.
You have to understand. The more we distrust one another, the further we fall into our true foe's trap. Zero was the one who did those horrible things to your brother. Do you want to let yourself be manipulated by someone who would do such a horrible thing?
Okay, Ace, I don't know. Something about that's kind of suspicious to me. I don't know. I'm kind of a little sus of Ace all of a sudden. Clover didn't answer. He chose to let himself lay in here. He found the anesthetic and knocked himself out. They would go on. He volunteered himself so readily. She didn't even look at Ace. The whole time her eyes were on Junpei. He could feel Clover's eyes boring into him. They were the color of her deep winter lake. Junpei saw no suspicion in them, only sadness. Then, in that horrible silence, they heard a bell begin to ring. It was the clock at the central staircase.
It's
That means we have 3 hours left.
Bro, that's not much time, dog.
Then we need to move now. 7. Clover, I know how you feel, but you do understand that right now it's important we trust one another, don't you?
7 and Clover remained silent. Their eyes were looking at something somewhere else, very far away.
We must go. We have very little time left.
Ace's words put their feet to moving. They all knew where they were
Our
going.
next destination is Mercury.
But maybe you and June should check it out first and then report back to us.
You can't recall if you have to know the room after this or if you get an ending. We'll see.
All right.
I mean, I think I
let's go,
will,
June.
right? Because I have to go into one of these doors.
Right. Here it is.
It sat bolted to the wall near the stairs that led to the casino and the kitchen between the 2 elevators.
The Mercury card reader.
We're using the card 7 gave us, right?
Yeah,
I found it when we were checking out the shower room.
I think 7 said something like that. Anyway, let's see what happens.
Junpei slipped the card through the reader. Let on the reader turn green and made a tiny electronic noise. Okay, I'm gonna save here because I don't know how this is gonna keep going. I'm gonna save here and then we will continue this next time. It's getting late. Let's see if there's anything to show on stream. No? Should I keep going? I mean, no, I should stop. Okay. Okay. Good night, Adrian. Oh, this was last night. This was last stream's meme. Sorry. Let's see. Let's find somebody to raid here. Who's on? Oh man, Sova's not on anymore. Is it weird if I just keep raiding Sam? I just Sam keeps being on when I'm on. And Sam's super cool. Is that weird? Whatever. He's part of my stream team. So I'll do the raid. I'll do the raid. You can't find any 999 memes without spoilers? Oh, your time's up! All right, folks. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for hanging out. I appreciate it. Gonna be going to a con here this week, which I'm pretty excited about, but it won't affect streams. But I will talk to you guys about that when I get back. Yeah, thank you all for being here. Thank you for hanging out as always. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for the commentary, the chatting. Thank you for just being a nice community, folks. I appreciate it. And I'm super excited to see it growing little by little as you all come and spread your joy and positivity. Especially right now as we head into a very tumultuous election. Not sure what the results are going to be, but let's hold out hope and continue to be there and support one another no matter what the results are. All right, folks. Let's go ahead and show Sam some love. Good night, all. Sleep well. I will talk to you all next week.